Welcome back to the Belfry and the Bell of Lost Souls. I'm Ross Watson, lead designer of Wrath and Glory, the role-playing game, and you are watching Wrath and Glory, the Box of Sorrows. We have with us our group of great players, and we'll ask you to introduce yourselves and who you are playing.
Yep, my name's Mark. I'm a resident RPG player over here in the Belfry. I am currently playing Battle Brother Trojan Cull of the White Scars. Apparently, he just likes to smash face all day long. All day long.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I am Adam Harry. I'm one of the writers at Bulls, and I am playing Pator Nemoris. Sorry, I almost said that wrong. He is a
just your name. Don't worry about
priest. Yeah, just my name. Not a big deal. He's a Ministorian priest, devout member of the faith of the Emperor.
I'm Abe. I'm one of the writers here at Bell of Lost Souls. I'm playing Commissar Victoria Lynn. She is a commissar who is really focused on hunting down cowardice and doesn't notice anything else.
I'm Jennifer Larson, Mayhem's Muse on the interwebs. I'm the video producer over here and the community manager, and I'm playing Lady Gamala Alareta. She is an inquisitional acolyte and super big Xenos fangirl.
Just to catch you all up on where we are. Just to catch you all up on where we are right now, the warband was sent to the Moon of Scale, which is a kind of barren, desolate place except for an Inquisition outpost. And they were there to find Adept Gwendolyn, which was one of their friends that was sent here a while back to investigate something called the Box of Sorrows, and she hadn't been heard or seen from since. When they arrived at the outpost, they were met by a hololith, a 40k term, of Interrogator Kavar, and he explained to them that they needed to go further into the facility, open the doors for them, but they were then attacked by a group of poxwalkers. Right. They handily dealt with that situation. But then they located Adept Gwendolyn, and things got a little weirder because the area was full of fungus and disease, and it was very nasty. And the Box of Sorrows was gone; it had been taken. They then encountered Inquisitor Gelt of the Ordo Malleus, who explained that the box was some kind of artifact that they'd recovered from an exoplanet called Troilus, and the guy who recovered it was in fact Kuvar, who the Inquisitors convinced has become corrupted by the device and has used it somehow to kill all of the people in the outpost. And set up some kind of, there's a lot of chaos going on right now. The last thing that happened right before we left is they encountered Tech Priest Arail, who was one of the other survivors of the attack, and they then found that something was breaching between the material and immaterial from the regular world to the warp, and that turned out to be Adept Gwendolyn, who spawned a couple of plague bearers right in their faces. They're about to flee, and that's where we pick up the action. Which will, of course, we will start with combat, which means...
So they were pretending to be her, or they are her and have corrupted her?
Yes.
I would say it's not entirely clear at what point she stopped being Gwendolyn and started being demons, but she is definitely two demons right now. And the rest of her is a discarded husk of flesh.
Oh.
How
dare you take over my sister?
She was your sister?
I don't know.
Oh, well, okay.
my order. She's of my order.
Oh, okay, if you want to spend a wrath point and say, that is my sister, declare that you were related by blood, I'm okay with that, but you don't have to.
Like my soul sister, like my order sister, not like my actual biological sister.
Fair enough.
Yes, thank you for going with the Moulin Rouge route. I appreciate that.
So, just to kick things off, Inquisitor Geltz will grab a rail, and the two of them teleport away.
Nice.
There's that flag, and he's just gone.
That's probably a smart move.
You know what I love about the Inquisition? They're always there for you. Thick and thin.
Hey, you're standing right next to an interrogator.
And they make great decisions all the time.
Absolutely, yes, we do.
So in this combat, the player characters will go first. So one of you, this was not an ambush. I mean,
A question: are
Yeah.
these considered heretics, or are they considered keyboard
Unfortunately,
they're demons?
funny story, demons of Nurgle are actually not heretics. They are just demons.
Just checking.
Nice try, though.
So she's not coming back from this.
Oh,
She's
no.
absolutely-
Oh no,
Yeah,
she's
I'm
dead.
really pissed about that. So I totally want to charge
So-
right on in and chainsaw.
All right, so the camera focuses on your face, Aloretta's face, and she's like, yeah.
No!
Take the lead. I'm impressed and like, you're
By all means,
go for it.
There's a primal scream, and then she charges with her sword. So
Absolutely.
Mighty
you're gonna roll in there now. One thing you can do, we have been doing kind of basic combat so far, but there's a lot of options of things you can do in combat.
Okay.
One of which is called an all-out attack.
Oh, yeah.
Now, an all-out attack means you get 2 extra dice for the swing, but your defense goes down by 2 because you are just focused on pure offense.
Sure.
Are you cool with that?
Absolutely. I'm not thinking about defense right now.
All right, so you will get 2 extra dice for the swing.
we can burn all of them when they're done, right? Commissar, is that?
Yeah. So the chainsword is not. Oh no, that's damage.
Weapon
so-
skill. Weapon skill is what you're
Weapon
looking for.
Very bottom.
It's the bottom of your skills. 8.
Oh, right. 8.
So here's the thing.
Oh,
Normally, big potbelly demons you think wouldn't be that hard to hit. However, they are surrounded by clouds of fat-bodied flies. Just swarms of them. And that means they're always considered to be in cover.
That's where you went. Anyways.
So you need a 5 to hit these guys.
Yep.
Spin that around.
Oh no.
7.
Okay, great. Did you get any exalted icons?
I did not.
No. And
But I
That's-
did get the bad die.
A complication.
Oh no.
Okay, so why don't you draw for me one of the orc card decks over there?
Okay.
The orc
Oh,
orc deck.
that
That is our combat complications deck.
It's like I'm charging in full out right now. I'm mad. I'm inconsolable. I'm not paying attention
So,
to what I'm doing.
And to be clear, we're going to resolve the attack before the complication happens.
Okay.
Now it looks like I think to draw again. So this is weapon jam, but it says draw again.
Yeah, draw again if it's not. Yeah, so draw again. It's not,
So
not made.
weapon does not jam because it's a sword.
With jams.
Yeah.
It's covered
Inside
with
a
jam.
Blackberry.
Raspberry jam.
So falling
No,
prone,
sir.
the character's attack causes them to stumble or slip, resulting in the character falling prone.
Now after.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
After
so
the
like
attack.
I'm charging full out into this.
Okay.
Not being dexterous or anything. Just like full out my whole weight into it.
All right.
Swording around, so I'm like gonna spin out and fall as I do it.
Great. So you hit, but you don't have any 6s to shift to damage.
No 6s.
All right. So you're going to roll 1 dice and add the icons to your damage. Now this is a chainsword, right?
Yes.
Chainswords are brutal, so are bolt weapons.
Yeah.
Brutal means you add 1 to the results of your damage dice.
1 die. Or
No,
just
one pip.
number?
Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, the pip goes higher.
So 1
To a
plus
2.
1 is 2.
Which
so
is
11 total.
No.
Your
A 1, 2, or 3 is still nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
That's,
it's
9.
not
it's-
four
yeah, the damage dice is just like all the other dice in the game.
Got you. So 9.
Trust me, we tried it the other way.
Yeah, it works so
Didn't
well.
work out.
Wait, your
Yeah.
chainsword. How much damage does your chainsword do?
9 plus 1 extra. Oh, so 10. No,
No.
1 extra die.
So
but
9.
that extra die failed.
Yes,
Right.
correct.
So
So
it's
you're
just
currently at a 9. Okay, so well you have one other option. You can pump glory into damage on a 1-for-1 basis.
Do
okay.
it!
Yes, absolutely.
How many
All in.
glory would you like to? Oh, all of it.
No.
Go all in.
I don't
Wait,
want to
whoa,
spend
whoa,
everybody
whoa,
else's
dude.
glory.
Yeah.
It's-
No,
it is the
seriously,
group.
it's our glory.
How hard did you hit? Like a 9?
I get a 9.
You should like decapitate one on your
Go.
way down.
I don't
I'm
know.
down for that.
Do like half. Whatever.
Okay, yeah, half.
4.
Fine.
4.
Round up.
Round up. You're giving 4
Shit.
glories.
Okay.
For the glory of
All right,
the
so your total damage is what?
So I roll 3 more die. Is that what that is?
No, it's
Straight
1 for 1.
damage.
Just add
1
straight
for 1,
right
so
into
4
damage.
more, so 13 total.
Okay, so his resilience is 9.
Yeah.
So that would
Good.
normally be 4 wounds, but plague bearers, if anyone's fought them on the miniature game, they have a rule.
Ooh.
Feel that pain.
They have a rule called disgustingly resilient.
I hate
surprise
it.
how
So
that works.
gross.
And that means that plague bearers, now they are elites. Let's be really clear about this. These are elites. They can cause critical hits. They can also soak damage.
Oh, jerks.
And disgustingly resilient means they soak damage for free. I don't have to spend ruin to do it.
That sounds like cheating.
Like
From
in
a
the
game,
tabletop game.
a game designer perspective, that sounds like.
All right, well, the good news is he only soaks 2 of the 4 wounds.
Nice.
Great.
So you actually do cause damage with that sword. You slash into him, the chainsword bites, and you can feel like that flesh is almost like rubber. It just kind of vibrates and then splits. And on the inside, you see a tiny nurgling, a little creature mostly made out of excrement and filth. And it just kind of sneers at you and grabs the 2 sides of the wound and starts pulling them back together.
Yes! I fall fall on it, like full out flail on it as I fall,
Okay, but you end up on the ground. So you just,
on top of it.
Well, no, it doesn't fall with you,
I tried.
unfortunately. But yeah, you do fall down, you slip. And prone means your defense is a 1. I'm
That's
sorry,
great.
your defense is...
Yeah.
Coming to help.
That's fine.
Coming to help.
So that was
He gets
her
to go.
turn.
We
Getting back to the ship.
You can spend glory to seize the initiative
I
if
would
you
love
like.
to do that.
Okay.
Get in there, Space Marine.
Yeah.
Get in there.
Okay, so...
Aren't you glad you didn't use all your glory on the damage?
No,
I would
good-
not
good
have
call,
done that.
good
I'm
call,
not that
good call.
selfish.
I am, I've got my bolt gun out,
I don't know.
but I do feel like... I mean, like...
Wait, ask about these, because I don't...
What does steadfast mean for the Astartes combat knife?
So steadfast means you ignore the first combat complication.
That's nice.
Maybe
It's-
it's a mucho.
Now, would you like to shoot? I think you should shoot, actually.
Okay, cool. I
'Cause-
have my bolt gun out.
We're gonna
Go
talk
ahead.
about some options.
Okay, I like options.
All right, so if you have your bolt gun in your hand,
Yes, which I do.
there's has something called rapid fire, and if you're within half its range, which you are,
Hey, they're
you
practicing.
get that many dice equal to its rapid fire added to your attack roll.
Now, I seem to remember... I mean, I want to do this. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
But I also seem to remember that shooting into a melee may not have been the best thing in the world.
In this case, I'm going to rule that since she's prone, and you're a space marine, you can just kind of, aim a little
yeah,
higher.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a question.
Now, but there's just I want to
Yeah.
one more thing before we get to that.
Sure.
In Wrath and Glory, we do not track individual bullets. You realize anytime she's fired her pistol or whatever, I haven't worried about telling you to mark off ammo. There's no ammo to mark off.
Cool.
Instead, what we track is this: as long as you have a reload, you can fire your gun all day long, but you can spend a reload to get bonuses. You basically burn the clip to do something cool. You
How many of
may.
those do I have, Ross Watson?
Well, you start with 3.
Yes.
Every character starts with 3, and there's ways to get more. Like if you're an orc, you can have an ammo grot who carries more ammo.
That's yes.
Seems
very
appropriate.
cool. Yeah.
So in your case, if you wanted to spend a reload, you could add the salvo rating of your weapon as well to the amount of dice you roll.
Salvo
That's what I
rating
was
is
gonna
2. Rapid fire would make that 2 additional.
Correct.
Total 4.
So you'd add 4 to your ballistic skill when you fire.
Oh, I'm doing this. Yes.
So that's what I was going to ask
Yes.
was what the salvo value was. 'cause
That's
I
what-
noticed-
okay.
Okay.
So I answered. Look at that.
All right.
There you go.
So we have
All
a
the dice.
9 for my ballistic skill.
Mhm.
9.
9.
I'm adding 4 more because I'm going to rapid fire and I'm going and
Burn a
salvo.
rope.
Correct.
Reload.
Don't forget to roll a glory dice.
One of them is going to be my big dice.
Yep.
And then plus
Go to
1 for being a space marine, or is that just
No, that's only against
success?
mobs,
Oh,
remember?
oh, never mind. Okay, these guys are important.
These guys are elites. So Space Marines are really great at mowing down. I call them mucinators. They're really great at
I
mowing
love
down the
this!
faceless hordes.
That's awesome.
But they have to be heroic when they face elites or adversaries. They do have to step up, just like all the other characters.
Got it.
So having Space Marine in your group is great because they have a role they play, which is they kill
They kill the little
they
dudes.
kill the little dudes. Great. They're really awesome at that. And then they're also not bad because they're Space Marines at fighting the big guys too. But you'll notice that every character's archetype kind of has a reason to be there in the
Yeah.
party.
It's cool. I like it. Okay, so I'm rolling a total of 13 dice right now. I'm not forgetting anything, right?
No, that's
Okay.
totally fine.
13 dice.
So yeah, you're daka the whole thing.
Roll all the good stuff. Oh, that's well. I guess
You got
it could
that
be
wrath on
worse.
too, don't
I
forget.
do.
Remember, you
I'm
need a
going
5 to hit him starting out.
I need 5s. 5s to hit him.
No, not 5s. You need
5
5
successes.
icons. Yeah, icons.
There we go.
Well, we need extras for damage, right? This is
Yes, that is not a success.
You're gonna want to do
burn a
damage
wrath.
too. Oh, all right. So re-roll your failures.
Okay, so that's all of them, correct?
question on
No,
rerolls
just
too.
the failures.
Just the failures.
Just the
Question on
failures.
Not all the failures.
All of the failures.
Yes. Okay.
However, okay, really clear. You cannot re-roll complications.
Oh, that's fair. It was a 3. That's
Okay,
fair.
just getting that out of the
Good
way.
point. Thank you.
Can you? I'm assuming you can only reroll a reroll once.
Yeah, it's one and done.
Okay, one and done.
Brother
Just-
Cole.
Just making sure.
Done.
Every
Fail,
time you say
but
Cole, I
not
want to
a-
say Crawl the Warrior.
I know. It's
Just
in my
every
head
time.
too.
Every time.
Brother Cole.
Crawl
Okay.
the Warrior.
Cole the
Total
Conqueror?
of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Did you get at least 5? Okay, so that's a hit.
7, 8, 9, 10. I got 1 exalted icon.
All right, so you can shift that into damage.
I'm totally doing that.
All right, so you're gonna roll 2 dice
Okay.
and add that to damage. Well, whatever the results are to the damage of your weapon.
And one of those will be the big dice, correct?
No,
No,
this
just
is a
regular
roll,
dice
not a
damage.
test.
Got it. Okay, so its bolt gun is 10 plus 1 extra dice.
And then you get 1 for the shift.
So
And it's brutal.
Brutal does... Sorry.
Plus 1 pip to the damage dice.
Got it.
Oh, wow.
So a
plus
4
one
becomes
hit?
a 5.
Correct.
A 5 becomes a 6.
Correct.
Does that become an exalted?
Yes,
Yeah!
exactly.
So a total of 3, I guess.
So 3 to your 10 becomes a 13,
Yes.
right? All right. That is 4 more wounds.
Yay!
Because I'm disgustingly resilient,
You
I get a
should be.
free roll. Come on, soak it, soak it. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, that's the... You did
Oh!
more with your off-foot chainsword swing than a trained space marine
You
did.
I
blaze
have courage
away.
of conviction.
There you go. That is enough, apparently.
You blaze away with your bolter. I mean, you burn the
They
clip.
care not.
And the bolts blast chunks off of them, but every time that happens, it just kind of seals right back up. The power of the warp is really strong here.
Nerdling's just throwing it back at me.
And you know, unfortunately, you eject the clip of your bolter. You will have to reload before you do anything more with that bolter.
So, would that be considered an action on my turn?
It is, but remember how I said you can multi-action.
Okay.
So if you wanted to, next turn, you could reload and do something else. It just imposes a penalty.
Got it.
On the next, and the more things you do, the higher the penalty.
Got it.
You cannot do the same thing more than once.
Okay, that's fair.
So you can't go, I swing, I swing, I swing, I swing, but you can say, I run and swing and reload a bolter.
Got
and
it.
this all just, it makes it harder to do the
All
swing.
those things at one time. I gotcha.
So, cool.
All right, I'm done. I'm good. Thank you.
All right, so it is now my turn, and because you have seized, you cannot seize again.
Correct.
So it's now my turn, period. And my plague bearer that's currently looming over the interrogator decides to reverse its sword two-handed like this, and he just rears up and he tries to plunge it down into her body because she is prone and defense 1.
That's not good.
And these guys have a weapon skill of 9. They're pretty
Yeah,
talented.
that seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Yeah.
That's not a good.
Stop.
That's not a good one.
Okay, so the damage starts at 11, and then I roll 3 dice.
It's been nice knowing you all. Bye.
You can soak
14 total
Soak it.
damage. What's your resilience?
6.
Ooh, that's 8 wounds. Oh my gosh.
Soak
The sword goes right in, so you're going to want to soak.
soak. All right, so I rolled 3 dice. Is that what that's up?
Is that what your soak value is?
Soak is 3.
Yeah, I think you're just
Ooh.
dead.
All right, you may want to add some dice with glory after
Yeah,
you
that's
after you
obviously
re-roll or
happening.
something.
Yeah.
But go for it.
Okay, so I just rolled 3.
Correct. And any icons you get, which you could potentially get 6.
I get 1.
There's,
All pass.
So that's 4.
So it's 4 soak.
So you soak 4 out of 8. Do you want to? You got 2 more glory you can spend.
I can't soak all 8 of them because I only have 3 dice. So the max I could soak would be 6.
Correct, but you have 2 more. You have 2. It's possible. It's not likely, but it's possible. You could roll 2 6s on those 2 extra dice and get 4 more icons.
But I mean,
Do it.
Do it.
Okay.
Do
2 more
it.
dice.
2 more dice.
I rolled 2 6s.
Oh my god!
The
Holy moly!
The Emperor protects.
Good news, bad news.
Oh, no!
The good news is you are not taking 8 wounds.
Great.
The bad news is you are converting all of those wounds into shock and taking 1 extra shock on top of that.
Shook.
So
I'm real shook.
9 shock. I'm pretty sure that puts you in exhausted.
My shock is 7.
Oh my god, yeah, you're exhausted. You're at 0. You can't go any further. So the sword comes clanging down, and you roll aside at like the last possible second. This is that action movie stinger. I mean, the music goes, and you're like rolling out of the way as the blade comes down, chips the stone flying everywhere, and you just flushed all of your resources to do that.
It was amazing.
That
so
was
worth it.
Yeah, but you're all like, I mean, even Call's got to be like, damn, that was a good dodge. Like,
Yeah,
that was
it was.
impressive.
I had a bad experience.
All right, Jennifer, unfortunately, you are now exhausted, and what
Great.
that means is
Great.
you're not going to be able to take any actions other than a basic move, a basic attack, or a disengage
Okay.
until you
Am
are...
I still defenseless right now?
Oh, yeah, until you're
Okay.
until your next action,
Cool.
you're 1.
I get one of those 3 things, or I get one of each of them?
Only 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Disengage.
Yeah,
Keep rolling.
disengage
Keep
would be
rolling.
great.
Just keep
One,
rolling.
Keep rolling.
Walk away.
Stop, drop, and roll.
It's now your turn because I'm not I'm gonna keep my ruin for now.
That's one of us.
Commissar.
Get in there.
Ah! For the glory of the Emperor! I
Now-
charge in there with my chainsword.
Really quick, can I point something out to you?
Yes.
You
please.
have an archetype ability called Fiery
Fiery
Invective.
Invective. Yes.
Keep going.
So
Yes.
why? So the question is, why have a priest in your party?
Yes.
Because the priest has an action, a free action, bonus action. Once per battle, he can make a cool sermon and restore shock.
Yes. Shock.
As long as they have the
That's
Imperium
great.
keyword, which you all do.
Yeah.
So would you like to do that?
Yes.
All right. So you as the Minister and Priest, you're like, and say,
I say, by the glory of the Emperor, I will smite thee with the chainsaw blessed by the Saint Aquila, and the righteousness falls upon thee, and I strike down at the
badass.
Nurgling, or
Okay.
the plague bearers.
First, you're going to do your archetype
I've got
ability.
prayer hands.
Yes.
Prayer hands. What's your archetype ability say? It's a D3 plus.
It is D3 plus rank.
Your-
Shock.
so your rank is 1 right now.
Rank 1. All right.
And so what this means is your abilities actually scale
Okay.
over time. When you get to rank 5,
Oh, go for it.
it's going to be a D3 plus 5 shock, which actually could get her probably back up to full. But right now, a D3 plus 1 is what you restore. And you restore it to everyone
Yeah.
within range.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Can you go to negative shock or is
No,
you
you
cap-
stop at 0.
So I'm rolling my
You
rank
can't
of
get
1.
more exhausted.
You can get dead.
All right, so I'm just rolling.
True.
Rolling 1 die.
Correct. It's D3 actually.
D3, so I rolled a 3, which is 2 plus rank of 1. So 3 shock.
Both of you recover 3 shock.
Yeah.
And when you are at positive shock, you are no longer exhausted,
Yes.
Jennifer.
So I'm at 1, so I'm...
No, you're at 3. You went from 0 to 3.
Oh, it doesn't go negative.
It does not go to negative. Nothing goes negative.
The Emperor does
Cool.
protect.
He does.
Okay.
Now you get, it's because that was a bonus action. You know, it's a free action, not a bonus. Sorry, I've been playing a lot of D&D.
Hey.
Because it was a free action, you may now make your regular
Mighty
attack.
attack. So I have one skill of 8, and this is a master crafted weapon.
Right. So 2.
So 2, and one's a big
With
die.
rerolls.
Yeah. And it is brutal parry. Okay, so here we go. Here goes.
Remember, you need a 5. These guys are not easy to hit.
Stupid flies.
Fly. Ooh.
Ooh.
Reroll.
Crit.
Hang
Is
on.
it a crit?
Oh, wait, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh!
Hang
That
on.
is a
Hang
You
on.
are the luckiest priest
Dude,
ever.
he's really good.
You've been like just killing it.
There's a lot of 1s in here too.
His
So,
faith is
hang
strong.
on. My faith. is
Abe,
strong.
please throw a glory
on.
in there.
Hang on.
Glory and a card.
yeah.
Glory and the card, actually. So.
Okay. And then I will burn a rat.
Yes, please.
To
Do some
reroll
damage to these
all
guys.
of these 1s
Oh.
and 2s.
Well,
Oh,
wait for the
God.
card. Just let him finish his die roll,
Okay.
please, and we'll figure out the card.
That's better. A
These-
little.
These dice
Not
don't
much.
like.
Never mind.
These ones are the bad dice, apparently. Okay, and it is brutal, right?
It
so
is.
That's not for the damage.
Just the damage,
Okay,
not
so
the
these
attack.
don't- Okay, so 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, can you keep 5 of those and shift one of your 6s?
Yes, I can do that.
Shift the big one.
You can't shift both, right? Because you need one of them to hit 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what he did. Yeah,
Right.
that's what
Okay,
he's
so
he's in
that's
for.
great. So you are going to shift, but you also crit. Now let's read the card.
Unspeakable card.
Oh my God!
I love it!
That's a rare card.
A truly grievous strike. Your attack is a terrifying display of martial prowess. A geyser of gore erupts from the foe's wound, ragged remnants of their bodies strewn across the battlefield. Effect: target suffers 1d3 plus 3 mortal wounds.
Yes!
Damn.
Kill
the
this
The
thing!
severity is plus 1 mortal wound. So what exactly is a mortal wound here?
So mortal wounds cannot be soaked unless you have something special like a
Just a
refractor
seriously-
field.
Miracle.
For example, he's got a
Rosarius.
Rosarius, which allows him to
Nice.
soak mortal
Okay.
wounds. Unfortunately, one of the qualifications of being a demon is you can soak mortal wounds.
They have an invulnerable.
So, like
Sure.
against an orc, that would have been amazing.
Yes!
Against a demon, you're like, it's still good, it's still really good.
Yeah.
But they actually they will still get their
Yeah,
unspeakable.
you can make it so.
What is the term? I'm sorry. Disgustingly resilient.
Sure.
Yes.
Rule.
And severity is plus 1.
So first, let's not worry about the crit. Let's just roll your
Okay.
damage.
Okay, so damage is going to be. I shifted 1 damage, so I'm rolling 2 dice.
Correct, because the weapon comes with 1. And let me clarify this really quick. Personal weapons all have 1 die of damage
Mhm.
that you add when you roll.
Okay.
Anything bigger than that, like a heavy bolter or something like that, like we call heavy
Rocket
weapons.
launcher or something.
Well, just that's right. But heavy weapons,
Nothing.
heavy weapons, you start with 2 dice. Anti-tank weapons, which are missile launchers, las cannons, they start with 3. And anything bigger than that, Titan scale, whatever,
Void
4
weapons.
dice.
Yeah.
So you get that sort of visceral feel like this is a big gun because it starts with more dice.
That makes
Gotcha,
sense.
gotcha.
Anyway, so because it's a personal weapon, you start with 1, then you add 1 for the shift, so you're rolling 2.
But I'm increasing the pip, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I got a 5 total. So sorry, one success.
Okay, so you add that 1 to the
Yeah.
damage of the weapon.
So it'll be 11 damage.
Right.
And then
Now roll your mortal wounds.
Okay,
from
mortal
the
wounds.
from the card.
That's good. Just
yep,
as good.
3.
So
3 total.
6.
All right, so 5 on the die, so it's 3 plus 3 is 6.
So you cause 6 mortal wounds right off the bat, and then the sword does 2 more. So I have to soak.
What is the
8
severity
wounds.
plus?
It's if you spend a
If
glory,
you can put glory right into the crit and make the crit more deadly.
do it.
Yeah,
We
sure.
don't have, wait. Oh, wait. We
I
need
have-
to make one.
one.
Yes, yeah, do it.
All right,
the glory of the Emperor!
so 9 wounds. You just caused
9.
9 wounds to a
9.
plague bearer. This is the priest on the table. I want to play this character in my next
Yes,
guard
please.
army. I want that guy.
Something good about whatever juice he's drinking.
All right. Well, here's my soak roll.
It's Emperor juice.
Oh, no, stop.
It's possible I could soak all 9, but very unlikely.
It's all right.
I soak 5 of the 9. I take 4
God,
wounds.
these guys are tough.
Yeah.
He's almost dead.
I love it.
You shred his body.
Nerdlings falling everywhere.
Well, yeah, they pour out of him. A few form a little human chain and like grab the
Yes!
the leaning halves of the body and try to pull it back together somehow.
my
But it's just
favorite.
he's still just. I mean,
One's got a broom trying to brush his parts back.
it's awful. There's parts of that demon everywhere.
Awful.
Love it.
Oh,
that's
give
a
yourself a
pun.
wrath.
Yeah.
Okay.
Likes puns. Yes.
All right. So it is now my
Hashtag
turn.
lucky.
You have no glory to spend, so
Correct.
it's now my turn. Second plague bearer. Well, you just made yourself a target.
Yeah, I
sir.
did.
Yay!
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Here comes the
Okay.
plague bearer. He's going to come at you with his sword. He's going to do 9 dice because that's how
Yeah,
awesome
that's
they
what it
are.
Mhm.
Your defense is 4 with your weapon out.
Yep, 4 because of parry.
That's right. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not great, but I'm going to spend a ruin to reroll my failures.
Yeah.
And I did crit,
Uh-oh.
so that's not good.
Nope.
I mean, like, from a certain point of view.
Okay, much more better. All right, so I got 4 and 2 shifts. I'll take that. Now, I also critted. So draw me a card, please, Abe.
Oh,
That's
draw the worst card.
That's the crit card, not the complication.
The crit card, yes.
Okay. Brutal Rupture.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Mangling flesh and crushing bone. This attack showers the ground with blood. Ruptured organs make your foe gasp in wretched pain. Weakened by the blow. Target suffers plus 1d3 wounds and is hindered 1.
Ooh.
Okay, hindered means you're going to take a penalty to your actions
Okay.
till the end of the round. So here's the damage. It starts at 11, and I add just 1 more, so 12 total from the blade, and then it's D3, right?
How many wounds do you
3.
have naturally?
So 15 against your resilience.
Ooh, I have a resilience of 9.
Nice.
So 6 wounds coming
Not
at you,
gonna
sir.
die.
6 wounds coming at me.
So,
I have a soak of 4, so I'm gonna roll those 4 to soak.
Yes.
All right, here goes.
You don't have to soak. Just keep in mind, that's not a requirement. But in this case, you really
I feel
want
like
to.
it'd be a really
In,
good
in this
idea.
case, you really want to. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yo,
I soak 3.
Well, you convert them into shock. Is what you do.
Yeah.
And it costs you a shock to soak. So you just turned 3 wounds into 4 shock.
Okay.
Okay, 4 shock.
So out of the total of 6 wounds, you're taking 3 of them.
Okay, so I take 3 wounds.
Yeah. So that blade bites, and you are sent back reeling, like crit for crit. You crit his buddy, and then he crits you.
Yeah.
And on top of that,
Toxic. Right?
yeah. Now
Yay, it's a
this
Britney
is
Spears
this
song.
is much harder than the Poxwalkers. I need you to make a toughness test, difficulty 7.
Ooh, toughness test. Okay, so is that just straight?
It is. It's just your straight stat.
Ooh, I have a toughness of 4. I'm no space marine.
Technically possible to roll 7,
Do
but
I need to roll a wrath with this one?
you do actually.
Okay,
Yeah. so
4 dice.
Crit the best.
Oh,
that's not good.
that's worse. That's a complication.
You got a lot of.
I can't reroll those, right?
You can't reroll the complication. You can reroll any other failures.
I've got 2.
You couldn't even
And-
succeed.
Huh?
You couldn't even succeed.
You need
Yeah.
5, right?
I'm gonna.
Well,
fail.
the higher you get, the better, honestly. So,
So I'm
Do it.
I'm gonna burn the wrath because.
Okay.
You got a
Just
lot.
try. Give me that 6.
Nope.
all right. So how badly did you do?
So I 2 successes.
Okay, you take 5 more wounds.
Ooh. I
And
do I soak that or do I just?
No, you
Oh,
just
yes.
take it.
Take it.
So-
Oh.
That puts you at 0,
Push
doesn't
me at 0.
it? Okay. So what happens is you reel back and you're like, okay, I'm gonna live through this, and then his veins start to bulge and turn black.
I don't feel so good.
And he just keels right over. So you are unconscious.
Burn my body!
And you're going to have to make what's called the defiance check at the end of the round, which means you could potentially start to die.
Oh, yeah.
It's very likely that you, left unattended, you're just going to die.
Yes.
But anyway, you drop. So the priest just drops. Boom. It's now y'all's turn. What do you want to do?
Who hasn't gone? Has everybody
I
gone?
haven't gone
It's
yet.
you haven't. Okay, go
So
ahead.
quick
Yeah,
question. I have this sidestep ability.
Yes, you do.
Is that a reaction that I use, or is that something I do on my? So it says I give up once per round. I can sacrifice my move to gain.
Yeah, you do it on your turn. You're like, I am choosing that guy and I'm sidestepping
That
him.
guy.
I'm gonna shoot you with bolter rounds.
I'm on the ground, dude.
I know.
All right.
I got a demon. Don't worry about
So
it.
then I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pull out my weapons. I assume I have no weapons out at this point.
Sure,
We were
that's-
walking around with our weapons out.
It's fine. Yeah.
So I'm going to choose to sidestep against the uninjured
Okay.
guy. I'm also going to use my campaign card.
Oh, what does it say?
Perfidious Eldar.
Ah.
Because I don't like Eldar. You have screwed everything up already, Miss
Rude.
Eldar
Rude.
lover over there. These aliens had the stars in their grasp, and now they are left to sift the dust of their once fabulous realm. I can play this to add +4 to any one skill for the rest of the scene. I add 1 ruin to the GM's total.
Woo! Thank you.
So I'm gonna go. So what is? Just a quick question. What does pistol mean for on my bolt pistol?
Okay, so pistol, what that means is you can use it in close combat, but you don't get any. There's no bonuses for range or any of that stuff, but you'd use your weapon skill instead of your ballistic skill. So if you were a really weak character, like you were like I don't know, like a really weedy acolyte, but you had a plasma pistol, you might be like, pew, right in the guy's face, and really hope to do a lot of damage
Makes
with
sense.
that. See, he's got a power sword. The thing about power swords is they're great against people who don't have lots of armor, but demons don't have armor.
He's just super fleshy.
Yeah, so he might want to go with the pistol, actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do my ballista skill.
No, no matter what you do, if you use it in melee, it's weapon skill.
Right, but I can't get into melee right now.
Oh, so you're gonna shoot?
He's
Right,
just
'cause
gonna
I
You're literally gonna shoot.
I have to give up my move to
Okay.
do sidestep, right?
So here's the question: what skill is the Perfidious Eldar bonus boosting?
Anyone's skill is it?
Right. Which?
Right.
So pick a skill.
Right. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna boost my ballista skill.
Yeah. That makes sense.
One last thing I'm going to point out. So in this game, we have a cool ability called interaction attacks. And interaction attacks are kind of a way for face characters to get involved in combat. And it's also a great teamwork move. If you do an interaction attack against somebody, you can lower their defense or you can give them a penalty to their attacks. So you could actually, if you wanted to, make an intimidation roll against a demon, for example. Try to set it up for somebody else.
Suggested the guy running the demons.
Well, he's got a pretty
I
good intimidation.
am good at...
Okay.
Commissars are kind of, that's their shtick.
You're right.
But for the purposes of the Perfidious Eldar card, you may want to instead pick something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's up to you.
No,
What would you like to do?
I'm gonna pick ballista skill.
All right, so everybody's ballistic skills up 4 dice.
Oh, everybody's?
Everybody?
Damn.
I'm
It's
down
not,
with
just,
that.
it's not just me.
What does the card say?
Play to add +4 dice to any one skill.
Okay, it's just you. Yeah. All right,
Okay.
so your ballistic skill.
I think
is
we
four.
separated ourselves.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I think we should have rolled with that one.
Yeah.
I apologize. I've got a lot of versions
No,
of
no,
this
no,
game in
no,
my
you're
head.
good. You're
So a
absolutely
lot of
fine.
versions in my head.
So I'm gonna go ahead and do ballista skill, and then I'm gonna take aim at the injured one with my bolt pistol.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to put down.
Do you want to burn the clip?
No, I don't think.
Do it! Kill that guy!
Salvo adds 1 to the
Just
bolt
one die.
pistol, so
Yeah, no, I'm okay.
I'm going to conserve my ammo. All right.
You never know. You never know.
All right. So aiming is +1 die.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, you're aiming to not hit your friend. Never mind.
Sure.
So you're not getting the +1 die. You're just getting your straight ballistic skill +4 from the Eldar. Now here's a quick thing to point out as well. Your tier limits the number of dice you can add, and also limits the penalties you can take. So at a tier 1 game, it's the thing is tier +3. So at a tier 1 game, your maximum dice you can add to anything is 4, and the maximum penalties you can take to anything is 4.
Okay.
We're at a tier 3 game, so our maximums are 6 and 6.
Okay.
And a tier 5 game, which is like the top of the chart, that would be a +8, or 8 on both sides. So what it means is, as your game scales, you feel like you're playing at a higher level because your dice, you have more dice it's possible to roll. But it also keeps us from having problems that crop up in other dice pool games where you end up with 26 dice in your hands. That's just crazy. Like there's a sweet spot, and we tried to hit that with this idea that tiers put a boundary around the amount of dice you can add.
Very cool.
So if you were to aim and salvo, you would be at 6 dice, and you could not get any more dice. Even if you had a scope, even if you no matter what else you had, those extra dice would just be wasted because you're over the limit.
Right.
Okay.
Cool?
All right. I'm going to take aim and
So ballistic skill plus 4.
bless him with the Emperor's beautiful bullets.
A single bullet in this case.
Oh, that's what commissars are all about.
You know,
All
if
we
you
need is
wanted
one bullet.
to, this might be a great opportunity to threaten to execute it for cowardice in the face of the enemy. I don't know.
How can I execute a demon for cowardice?
I don't know.
It's what you get, Gwendolyn, for running away, shirking your duty.
See?
Work that out.
You made it work.
Here we go.
So you're going to achieve your objective as well.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to immediately spend that to reroll,
yeah.
which is okay. It's okay.
It's okay so far. More dice.
Make it better.
There we go.
All right, so that is a crit,
Oh!
Yes.
Beautiful.
and I'm going to shift 2 dice over to damage.
Man, we're critting all over the place here.
Yeah.
All right.
This dice is like crit or you dead.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like this die now, but
It's been good to you.
Oh, this
It's been...
yeah,
really
no,
good.
it's true. It's true.
Everything.
Was it a
that's-
was it a
These are campaign.
Those are campaign cards. Yeah, you need it's the blood letter.
Right.
That's the one you want to draw.
Yeah.
I thought.
Savage attack. This assault leaves your opponent a mangled mess. I'm gonna get it glory. Suffers 1 mortal wound. If it survives, he immediately acquires a memorable injury. See page blank blank.
All right, so yeah, he's well. If he lives through this, he'll have a scar that you leave on him.
I think I'm
Yeah,
gonna
live.
spend the glory to do an extra mortal wound to it.
Okay, so what's
Or
the?
extra damage.
I need your total damage, and then I need
2 more
the
wounds.
then add whatever from the card.
So I do get 3 extra dice because I'm gonna shift 2.
And you were shooting the unhurt one.
I'm shooting the hurt one.
The
You're
hurt one.
shooting the damage.
Okay.
Just trying to put it down. Put it down.
So that is 2. So 12 damage plus 2 mortal wounds, so 14 damage total.
14. Woo. Okay.
Yes.
That's 5 wounds.
Alright.
So I get to try and soak that.
Stupidly, disgustingly resilient demons.
Yes.
To back.
He soaks 5.
That is so wrong.
Oh, just takes it like a champ.
He doesn't have a shock value?
Yeah, demons, no, not so much.
I don't care. They're not mortal. Whatever.
They really aren't. That's the key word. They
Yeah.
are not mortal creatures. They are formed out of the warp.
Oh.
So a lot of, I mean, yeah, I know it sucks. Like, if
It's
you guys were fighting orcs, you'd all be like, "Oh, we're the kings
This
of the
is super
battlefield."
easy. Come on, guys. Demons different.
They're not to be flexed with. So yeah.
You just suffer a memorable injury though.
Hey.
Well, you know what? Come up with something cool, and yeah, sure. This demon, when he returns from the warp, he's gonna be like, this guy gave me a scar right here.
He's gonna hunt you down forever.
Yeah, I think the
Is that everybody on your side?
I think we're all done.
Yeah, that's the end of the round. All right, so top of the new round, I'm going to spin a ruin to go first.
I think
Boom,
we're-
because
we're
yeah.
tapped.
I think there's a bolt around just embedded in this horn.
It
That would
never
be kind of cool.
exploded.
Give yourself a raft.
And the cracks form almost a little Aquila.
There you go.
There
you go.
So cool.
Nicely
Okay.
done.
I
Nicely
like
done.
that. That's cool.
So that guy is gonna go. He's gonna go first. He's got his sword out. He's looking at he's looking at sort of the miraculous dodge of Alaretta. But no, he wants you now. Alaretta, he walks away from you. You get a free strike swing if you like.
Yes, likes.
Get his ankles.
Ugh.
So make a web skill attack. But he's just going to walk right away. He's going to discard you and go straight for the commissar. This is apparently a vengeful demon. You know, they're kind of Eeyores. They're all like, oh, poor me. But
I'm gonna
this guy's
hamstring
like,
him.
oh, now I'm even uglier.
I'm gonna hamstring this bro.
Just kill him.
Kill him. Pay for the Morris. Do it.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
This is the crittiest.
You guys are
game
blowing
ever.
it. I mean, I
So
have.
5?
Wow.
With a crit on my
hit.
The odds of that are crazy right now.
Astronomical. Don't tell me the odds,
Emperor
kid.
protects.
Don't tell me the odds.
Oh yeah!
Uh-oh. This was
Ferocious rending.
Rar!
So attack shreds your opponent's flesh into ribbons.
Yeah.
Gory furrows of red ruin are torn open, grinding the foe's bones and leaving them open to attack. The target suffers plus D3 wounds and is vulnerable too.
Jesus. Okay, well,
and
wow.
severity is plus 1 wound if you
If
want
this
to
guy
finish
is...
him off.
Yeah, because she gets a glory for that,
Yeah.
too. As well.
Alright,
Rules.
so...
Roll your damage.
do your
Okay,
damage.
so
Keep the glory.
9 plus
Keep the
1
glory.
extra die.
Keep the glory so we can
Did
still
you not shift
Oh.
any?
Well, we have the
Did I what?
Did you not get any sixes
Oh
to
yeah, this
shift?
is his turn.
I
gonna
got a
get
6
two
on
in a
my wrath die.
Could you shift it?
No. She got 5 exactly.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Okay, well then.
No, I got 6.
Then you can shift the wrath. No, you can't because you need it.
Yeah.
You need it to hit 5, so you're right. Never mind. My bad.
So just the
Yeah.
9 plus the 1 extra
Oh,
die.
jeez.
So plus 1 was a fail,
Yeah.
even with the plus 1.
All right, so
because-
9, and then you do D3 from the crit.
1.
And then another one for... Do you want to spend this for the severity? To do an extra damage?
Yeah, you want to improve your crit.
Yes.
Glory.
Do it.
All right, so you're up to 11.
On a free swing, we'll
I
take
love
it.
That's
Yes,
that's not
please.
bad. That's
Absolutely.
2 wounds.
Over the ankle.
Fail something.
Wow. Okay, I just take that.
Yes!
You're doing the best.
The Emperor protects me.
But he keeps walking.
Favorite child.
He's like, ah! And the
Hamstrings.
battered, torn remnants of this plague bearer is now in your face. My penalties are pretty high at this point. What's your
Hamstrings.
I need probably a 6 to hit you at this point.
You can't get it. Emperor don't love you.
You can't.
Why are you trash talking my demons now?
She's real mad. They killed-
I did
they
hit, but
killed my
only
clan.
barely.
Ooh.
That's a barely hit.
He's
All right.
got it.
Defense 3.
Well, no, I'm...
Oh, there went all my ruin. I'll get it later. Okay, so 11 damage total is what I got.
Okay.
What's your resilience?
9.
Take 2 wounds. You want to, I assume, soak it?
I'm going to try to soak it, yeah.
All right.
You pay to soak?
No,
No.
it just costs you shock.
Nope.
Okay, well that's you tried to soak, so it costs you a shock, and then you also take the 2 wounds,
Yep.
and then you also must make a toughness test.
Yes.
Ooh.
Don't you want to be infected?
No.
Don't you want to see
What?
what it's like
No. No, God.
to
No.
be bloated?
That would be... what's the toughness I need to get to pass?
Well, his resilience is a 9.
No.
my-
The
he's-
toughness test.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. You're
It's a
looking for a
5,
7.
right? Or 7.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
He's almost there. No. Was it 2?
Roll some more dice.
Oh, you're at
Re-roll
6.
some dice.
You gotta have something in
6.
there. Something.
I think you're done.
No, I can reroll. I have 1 dice I can reroll, so I'll spend...
Do it. Don't
Oh my
be
gosh!
sick.
All right, he's like, I really don't want
I
this
will
on
put
me.
you
Yeah,
down.
I really don't want this on me.
I just saw what happened to somebody.
Yes!
There we go.
Wow! All right, wow, that's impressive.
The
You
Emperor.
get cut, but you don't get infected. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Nurgle Demon
This is
is
my
like, I'm
thing.
having a really
Courage and
bad
conviction,
day.
boo.
It's just
I
awful.
had that once.
All right, so back to you
No.
guys.
Huh?
You, sir, I'm gonna say this is now your turn. You're gonna need to make that a defiance check for me. So defiance check is roll a single d6. On a 4+, you pass. On a 1, you fail twice, and if you fail 3, you're dead.
Okay.
So you may spend a wrath to add 1 to the result if you like.
Do with that thing.
To the results.
Yes.
Yeah.
So roll.
Okay.
So if you get the
roll
1,
first
you roll.
and then add wrath, or do I have to add the wrath?
Yeah.
first?
Yeah, you can do after, but
I got a 2.
all right. Well, so spending wrath's not going to help you, but that is a fail.
Okay.
So you have 2 more to go. So yeah, you spend this round unconscious and bleeding out, and you are nearly he's in bad shape, guys.
So I'm not gonna help him,
No.
but how could I help him?
Medicate. You can
Okay.
stabilize. You can stabilize someone with a Medicate skill.
Actually, you haven't
Take my gene seat. Wait, we don't care.
Nobody
He's
cares
like,
about your
yeah,
genes.
why would I
son.
do that?
You know, if he tried, that would actually kill you.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, that would not be good for you.
Base of the neck.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, wait, I'm trying to find him, rooting around in here. There's just nothing but trachea.
Man, there's like, where are all your organs, man? All this is like
hell?
2 lungs, 1 stomach? This is ridiculous.
Alright, Space Marine, are you gonna kill something ever though?
I am ready to
Ooh.
rock and roll.
What is your plan to do, sir?
I think I'm gonna reload and try again.
All right, that's a multi-action.
Okay, so reload would come first, correct?
Yeah, so you're going to shoot
Yes.
at a +2 penalty, so you need a 7 to hit this guy now.
Okay, cool. I think I can do that.
Are you going to burn the clip again?
Yeah.
Oh! Are you shooting at the damaged one?
That is actually the question du jour.
I would assume yes.
Yeah, we kind of want to take their numbers.
All right, so that's going to mean you need to aim as well, just to make sure you don't
Hit my friends?
on a complication. Yeah.
They're all infected over there. They're just more
I'm
enemies.
not infected.
I am not infected by anything.
I will aim, so
Yes.
I'm now up to 8.
No, the aiming doesn't.
Sorry.
It's either or. You either get a bonus or you.
Okay, I'm
Eliminate
aiming so I don't hit my friends.
That's what I'm asking.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yes.
Okay.
So.
See, you guys are naturals now. You're using combat options. You're like using reloads. You got it.
It's
You've learned it.
intuitive.
You learned it.
Good, so it's easy.
So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for just my normal ballistic skill. I get +2
For
plus
rapid fire and 2 for salvo.
salvo. And I need 7,
one wrath.
which means one of these has to come out.
Yes. Don't forget your objective either, FYI.
Ooh.
That's these.
No,
No.
that's the thing you're supposed to accomplish. The objective you
Oh,
rolled at the beginning of the
right,
game.
Is there like some big, ungodly tough creature that lives
On Chigoris?
Chigoris?
I'm sure there is. Make something up.
Oh, I start screaming about how I killed the Hellkraken of Mama.
Yes.
And I will end this thing.
Yes.
Yeah!
Give yourself a wrath.
Queen.
Love it.
Queen.
Thank
You
very
achieved
much.
your objective. Now, also, I think your background is. What's your background say?
Let's see, what does my background say? Veteran of Cadia, you fought on that doomed world against the forces of chaos before it fell before Abaddon's Black Crusade. +1 influence already added in.
Oh, okay. So one of the characters has got a background where if they achieve their objective, they get another glory,
Oh, that's cool.
which is pretty great.
Alright.
It wasn't you, though.
Alright, so... Did not crit, but I also did not crit fail.
That's like the first not crit we've had in a little while.
Yay! Oh, I rolled a bunch of successes,
I mean,
though.
you could always get some rerolls.
I am going to go ahead and spend Wrath to reroll
Alright.
my fails.
Get that crit.
Oh, you know, there's a bunch of 6s in there. I don't know why I just picked that up. I don't need to. Didn't get the crit, but I
Okay.
did get 2 more successes.
All right. So how many? Here's the important thing. How many shifts do you get to damage?
Let's
Remember,
find
you need a
out.
7.
Well, I'm already in 8 with all my 6s.
Yeah.
So-
4 6s out of that roll.
So I'm at a total of 12, 13, 14.
All right.
And I've got 4 6s that I can use to shift.
So as long as you keep 7 in your pool,
So
Pull one shift.
12, 10, 8.
so you can
I
shift
would need
3.
that one to make it 7.
You can shift 3.
I'm
That's
doing so.
impressive.
These guys
Wow.
are stupid tough, and I
so
don't like it.
4 d6 is what you get to add
Okay, to
to
my
your
damage.
attack. Yeah,
All
that's
Get it.
this is the highest damage we've seen so far. Is you just
Well, I didn't do a whole
You're-
lot last time.
you're
so-
unloading.
Okay,
Wait,
so
it's 5d6, right? 'Cause
Okay.
Oh, yeah, 3
You shifted
shifts.
3.
So 4. 46.
Yes,
Wow.
so
If it was a heavy bolter, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
Yes. Why didn't I bring my heavy bolter with
Yeah.
me?
Well, you're a tactical marine.
Yeah, exactly. Why couldn't I just be? Never mind. I'm good. Dice. So 6,
Ooh.
5, 5, and a 3.
Remember, you add 1 to the
4.
pips on all those.
So they're
sixes.
all successes. These are all 6s.
Wow.
Okay.
Because it's brutal.
Because it's brutal.
Okay, yeah.
That's
So
7.
so basically, that's and the 6 just becomes a 6, right?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay, it doesn't go any higher.
So how many
So
icons
3
is that?
6s. 3 exalted icons, 1 regular icon.
So each exalt icon is 2, so 7.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
So you add 7 to the damage of your
Which
weapon.
would total it up to 17.
That's
What?
that's
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 not crit.
I was
No,
angry.
Emperor
I threw the
effect.
bullets harder this time, guys.
Emperor.
okay. How would you like to describe the death?
Yeah! My favorite thing. Oh my god. As my friends either are rolling around on the floor or on the floor bleeding out, or I don't even remember what you're doing.
I'm fine. I got like scratched.
That's why the friend who's okay. Like, I rip my helmet off in frustration.
Whoa!
And I reload, clack it in there way too hard, and just go to town on this wounded, aiming for the frustrating nurglings that have been driving me mad at compensation, and just blow them apart. Piece by
And without
nurgling
them,
by nurgling.
yeah, without them, the demon just discorporates. I mean, you turn it into
Yeah.
shredded flesh that just turns into like warp vapor, and it's gone.
I love it.
Bye.
My hair, which is like super long, blowing in the wind.
Wow!
Oh yeah.
Nice. Okay.
The vapors.
Wow. Okay, that was
Mhm.
that was badass.
I killed a very badly wounded demon.
And
You still killed a demon.
Killed it really good though.
as the echoes of your blasts are bouncing off the walls, and that last
Yep.
the last plague bearer, turns its single eye to gaze upon you with the bullet lodged in his horn.
Oh, yeah.
And at that moment, you were all surrounded by white light, and you hear the thunderclap of displaced air as you're all teleported off to safety.
No, my glory!
This smells of cowardice!
And you reappear aboard. You're obviously aboard a ship, and Inquisitor Gelt and Tech Priest Arail are looking at you. As you arrive, he's like, "I told you needed to adjust for the frequency. The Space Marine's power arm has a very distinctive signature." And Gelt's like, "Shut up! It worked." And you're all like manifesting, and he's quickly. They bring over a Medicae kit
Very nice.
and stabilize.
Yes.
Did
Your
Gwendolyn's
friend.
staff
We
come
had
over with
that.
us?
That was totally
We
easy.
had that.
Did what?
Did Gwendolyn's staff come over with
Spend a
us?
point of wrath and
Okay.
say, "So Gwendolyn's staff came with us." That's a narrative
I got
declaration.
this
Yay,
staff.
I
This
love
is my
it.
staff now.
Yes,
Mike rolled onto it.
Yeah, you as the teleport was happening, you reached out and grabbed it and snatched it off the ground.
So
So,
it's like a chaos artifact now, right?
so they're gonna end up stabilizing you, and
Yes.
they have like an auto dock on board, and we'll just
That's very
quickly
cool.
make a quick Medicaid check. Yeah, they are. This was called a regroup. You get to take like an hour, and if you do a Medicaid here, it's supposed to be in combat. They can actually heal more than one wound on you.
Oh,
So,
cool. All right.
they're gonna restore you. They're gonna restore you up to 6 wounds.
Okay.
Not fully, obviously, but yeah, you get some attention, and it's a lot. Basically, it's a lot of alembics that they're just draining all this awful black fluid out of your veins, and
Yeah,
you're like,
it's so
"Oh
gross."
God, that's
Yeah.
part of me."
Take it all.
Yeah.
I want no chaos taint within this vessel of
I'm
the
s-
Emperor.
I'm scratched. Can I get that taken care of?
Oh, jeez.
Well, I've lost a quarter of my health.
Okay, that's
True.
fair.
Like,
Never mind.
We're not all space marines.
yeah.
Hey, man, suck it
2
up.
wounds. They can restore 2 wounds.
That'll full.
Yeah, but Gelt is like quickly explaining. Says we have to go. I'm alerting the rogue trader to send. I'm sorry, I need to get back here. I'm alerting the rogue trader to send a ship here at once and launch a torpedo spread. A volley should eliminate this freakish facility once and for all. I want nothing more to do with it.
Love it.
Do it.
My acolyte, my former interrogator, is now a vile enemy of the Imperium, and I must deal with that.
Yeah, really.
Do you know where
Seems
you
like
went?
that box was some kind of Trojanless horse.
Shut
And they call us.
up.
In fact, I do. He says, Tech Priest Rail has traced its signature. Kuvar is taking the box to the Crown of Blades. Now, the Crown of Blades is a series of defensive platforms around the planet of Ostia. Ostia is the breadbasket of the Gilead system. And it's got a pretty kick-ass ring of defenses. It's got like all these satellites and command stations and so forth. And there is basically a central node that kind of commands all of those platforms. So if Kuvar were to take the box of sorrows there and open it and unleash that psychic attack, whatever that is,
Oh, that's not good.
that could render Ostia completely defenseless.
Whoops, Spawn.
Time to do a greater good thing, guys.
The cow.
Whoa!
Heresy!
I am not what I seem.
So the Inquisitor, he's like, I will organize a lockdown of the Crown of Blades. Only the Inquisitor's authority will allow me to step in and take command. So it will still take some time, but I will do what I must to try and seal off sections while you find Kuvar and find the box.
I wonder if my Inquisitor would have any tools or pieces of equipment that would help us on this mission.
Well, you have a background.
I do.
Yes. So your background is what's called a keyword, and when you have a background, in a keyword, it gives you a contact that you can call on once per session for a favor. And her contact happens to be her Inquisitor. So once per session, she can basically go, "Help! I need a
Solid.
thing."
Hey, Dad, help
That
me
sounds
out.
great.
So you want to contact Inquisitor
This is some
what's his name again?
Aelin.
Aelin, and what do you want? Inquisitors can provide a lot. What do you want?
It says
Ham
that you can
sandwich.
give me information, equipment, or a minor favor. I'm thinking some sort of equipment that we can use to end the this box or its influence or
Virus.
straight up homeboy negate the effects of the box?
Okay.
Something along those lines.
How about this? Okay, how about this? He could provide you with, say, a vortex grenade.
Yes.
And a
What
vortex
is that?
grenade creates a hole between this world and the warp and would take that box away.
Have
it
you
would be
seen
gone.
Thor 2
How big
Dark
is its
World?
radius? Because will it take like the entirety of the thing we're
No,
being sent to?
it's grenade sized. It's a it's about a 10-foot area.
I don't want to be around it.
Yeah,
for
I'm
sure.
about that.
All right, so
I want to carry
so
it with me.
a
Pull it when I sleep.
you will be met by an agent aboard
A holy hand grenade.
the Crown of Blades when you arrive, and he will hand over a vortex grenade.
Delightful.
You know,
Thanks, Boo.
I feel warm and fuzzy
Yeah.
right now
I have a
in
couple
ways that are
questions
hard
real
to
fast.
describe.
Does shock go away, or how does that work?
Okay, so yeah, you do recover shock during a regroup. It's
Okay.
a D3 plus 3. So
Oh, yeah, that's our.
if we did a respite is the long rest equivalent, and that would be all shock in all wounds.
Okay.
But a short rest is a D3 plus 1. So
Okay, and then the hinder.
Or plus
I'm
three,
assuming the hinder 1 goes away. After
yeah, at the end of the round of combat, it would have gone away.
do we
You
A
guys,
D3
Do we ever shuffle
plus
these back
1,
in?
you said?
the plus 3. Sorry.
Plus 3.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm back at the full one.
You know, Potter, this reminds me of an old joke I heard once.
No.
It's a tech priest, a priest, a Ministorum priest, and a commissar walk into a bar.
Oh yes.
The tech priest looks at all the drunken soldiers in there and goes, "Oh, these unaugmented humans are so degenerate and horrible." And the kindly priest says, "You know, brother, you must always show mercy to these people." And the commissar pulls his pistol out and kills them all.
The Emperor protect. The Emperor protect.
It's the Emperor's mercy.
Promethean.
No, Promethean.
What are you, Statler and Waldorf? Wow, that's crazy. Okay.
Special. No, rat. Do not
Yeah,
give them
no.
anything for that.
I agree. Yeah,
Don't
no.
encourage this.
But that was mildly amusing. Okay.
Mildly.
So Gelt's, that's basically what Gelt proposes, is that he will proceed to the Crown of Blades, use his authority to start locking down sections to try and keep Kuvar out, because only an Inquisitor can do that. There's going to be a lot of Imperial Navy commanders and Astra Militarum generals, guys that you guys would not be able to overrule.
Okay, so we're using the old Inquisition back in. What was Aloretta's, like, she's not an Inquisitor?
She's an interrogator.
Oh, got it. So, like, a couple rungs down.
She's a couple rungs down. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Got it.
So her archetype is Acolyte, and that can be interpreted in a lot of
different ways.
Correct. You can play full-on Inquisitor in this game. Just
It
FYI.
seems like it would be like.
It is a higher tier. Yes.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
It is a higher tier
Gotcha.
play. But at any rate, so he's going to do that, and what he would like you to do is he's going to send you on. Unfortunately, your lighter is gone.
Oh no, my trash can with wings, my Winnebago with wings.
But he will dock this vessel that he's currently on, which is like it's basically a Lightning class fighter.
Oh, cool.
It's been hollowed out for his use, but it's a small space capable warp, not interstellar, but definitely
Interplanetary.
You're going between a moon and another moon. Is that interplanetary? I guess it is.
Sure.
I'm sure there's probably a term for it, but anyway, yes, it's that.
Intermooninary.
Interlunar, I guess.
Please make up words all the time.
Chris
No, I
Nolan.
do.
Chris Nolan can correct me. I don't know what it is.
It's a lunar jumper.
So yeah, that's basically what you're going to do. Is you're going to go from here to the Crown of Blades in it, and dock. So that's probably going to take about an hour, and the whole time, you're sitting there and you're kind of remembering like the times you've spoken with Adept Gwendolyn in the past. You kind of remember the fact that all those people that were on that outpost, they died in some kind of horrible anguish. I mean, we're talking like serious soul-scorching something. Whatever lies ahead, this box of sorrows, it has already cost you, and it's a even for a Space Marine, this is a dangerous type of
Oh,
encounter.
I want no part of it. We're gonna vortex grenade that sucker back to where it came from, and I'm gonna feel very warm and fuzzy.
So I just want to ask you, like, for one quick scene of your character on the ship as the Crown of Blaze is approaching, which is this, again, it's a ring of defensive platforms and it kind of spiky, protruding space stations and things that just surrounds this green and blue jewel of a planet. As you're approaching it, just one quick scene of what your character is doing to prepare yourself for the coming confrontation. Let's start with Jennifer.
So, I am beyond infuriated that this has happened under the watch of this Inquisitor. Like, really mad about it. But I want to learn as much as I can about where this box came from and what their purpose was with it to begin with, and as much background as I can find. So is there like a computer terminal I can reference? Is there somebody I can question? I want to do that.
Arail and Gelt are on the ship. You can talk to them during this period of time and just learn more about what they're up to. Gelt is with the Ordo Malleus, and he's to a fellow member of the Inquisition, he's willing to kind of open up a little bit. And
absolutely.
Again, he reminds you that he's the box was recovered by Kuvar, and they don't know where it's from, but they believe it's an artifact of the Dark Age technology.
And what did he tell everybody about the box?
It came from an exoplanet, a rogue exoplanet that appeared in the system after the Great Rift appeared. A place called Troilus, a damned and deserted world.
Let's go
How
there.
did he know about it?
That's a good question.
He just shows up with this box one day, and you guys were like, "This is cool. Let's open it, see what happens."
Interrogators have a lot of latitude. Apparently, Gelt kind of lets his interrogators sort of pursue leads on their own, and this guy found one that led him out to Troilus.
And they call us radical.
All right, but you also probably clutch your the staff.
Oh, I'm totally cuddling this staff and real sad about it.
Okay.
And reminiscing on my experiences growing up and the background that I have of my training and focusing in on, like, here's my mission. This is what I got to do. If I can't save her, I have to do what I can to stop this from spreading any further, and I have to end this at all costs.
That's awesome. All right, Abe.
So I've got my bolt pistol out.
Commissar Victoria Lynn.
And I've cleaned it up, did maintenance on it, cleaned it. I'm polishing each individual bolt pistol round now.
Right.
And in front of me, I've got the Imperial Infantry Man's Uplifting Primer. Turned to the pages that reference the punishment to traitors.
Yes.
And those who betray the Empire.
Nice.
Nice.
And I'm just looking at each bullet.
Nice. Because one of those bullets is lodged in the horn of a demon forevermore. That's kind of awesome.
pretty great. I like it.
All right, great. And we have Peter Nemoris.
Yes. Is there like a mess hall or like this ship? Is there?
It's a fighter, dude. There's like a box of rations. It's not a galley or anything.
No. Okay.
You're lucky you have a place to sit because they kind of cleaned out all the ordnance.
Okay. Well, in that case, since there's no audience for me to minister to, I will perform the holy rites of repair and unguents and apply the holy oils upon my masterwork chainsword and clean that from the vile filth that I used to strike down the heretics upon the moon of scale.
Nice.
You probably burned some candles, votive candles and stuff too. Well, you actually tracked Tech Priest Arail. He comes over. He seems very interested in your sword. And he asks you about where you found it. It's a mastercrafted weapon, so he's very like.
He wants it.
Well, let me be clear. He doesn't covet the item, but he's appreciative of its craftsmanship and the war spirit within your weapon.
Nice.
Yes. I ask him. I tell him the story of my time on Enoch Synod and of where I acquired this mighty weapon of fighting against an orc tide and found it in a bacilla. Was a reliquary that I rescued from the clutches of a greenskin.
St. Josmin, wasn't it?
Indeed, yes, you've been there.
He just kind of shrugs his middle shoulder. He seems almost embarrassed. He's like, I've read some devotional texts.
Yes. The
for a tech priest to say that's pretty like, wow, okay, you've got a.
yes, you've heard of the great stained glass windows that promote the glory of the emperor. Yes.
You guys talk about this for a while, but it does kind of help remind you why you're fighting. And lastly, Brother Cole.
So it's very simple. So we had just been on a rescue mission.
Yes.
Now we're going on a hunt.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
The helmet comes off, and he places it on he finds a box or a table to place it in front of him because he'll be wearing it into battle. And he takes the gauntlet of his power armor off, and he pulls out his battle knife.
Yes.
And he cuts deep, and the blood flows, and he like pulls it in the palm of his hand, and he starts painting like the tribal hunting markings
Yeah.
onto his
Yes.
stationary helmet.
Hot.
And
Because
as
it's
he
a hunt.
finishes it up, he like just kind of like puts the rest across his face, and then seals the armor back up, seals the helmet back on,
Yeah.
reloads his bolter.
If I may suggest, there's 9 hunt marks, one for each of your fallen brothers of your squad.
I love it. I love it so much.
All right,
yes.
everybody take a wrath point. That was really well done.
Yeah.
All right, so the ship comes to the crown of blades. You can see the planet looming in front of you. You can see the installations that are surrounding, all kind of glittering amongst the black void of space. And then one of them, the fighter takes a quick turn and lines up with an airlock. A rail activates a new spheric link to you. It sounds like a modem, like the squeals of binary. Yeah. And the lumen on the astro the airlock will switch to green, and then the seals will come into place, and you'll find the doors open up, and you can see down into the depths of the installation. Gelt and Arail pretty quickly, like they know exactly where they need to go. They're heading to the bridge, but they provide you with a data slate that has a list of the last known sensor lock for Interrogator Kuvar. And they point out, Gelt says, before you leave, remember, he's an interrogator, and he's most likely shown his badge of authority to get anywhere he needs. You cannot count upon the station's personnel to aid you in this matter. But you will act with my authority. Anyone who gets in your way, regardless of rank, I will back you.
Hot.
Inquisitor, a question. Where do you believe the most likely location would be for him to cause the most damage upon the release of the box of shadow or box of sorrow?
He kind of shrugs. He's like, this is not my forte. I study demons in the warp. I do not study the architecture of facilities. But the data slate is the best way to guide you. And in the future, learn not to question the Holy Inquisition.
Ouch. Burn.
Tech priest.
He, like all the whirring, clicking.
In the Potter's vein of questioning, do we know anything about you were at the facility when the box opened the first time. Do we know anything about the radius that it might affect?
He doesn't know. It affected everything in the everything in the outpost. And while you guys are talking, a nondescript laborer walks up to her and slips her a little package. Which it's a vortex.
Delivered, thanks, bye.
Was it a cupcake? It was a cupcake.
The cupcake.
The cupcake of doom.
That's the best delivery.
Shove it in my
Cupcake.
Thanks.
It's subtle, but you guys all kind of like, oh, okay, something happened there. But nevertheless, they need to go.
I
So,
give him the super secret handshake.
Well, I feel like the dock workers probably would have noticed a giant box being unloaded.
Yeah, how big was the
according to the
area.
void that you saw,
Yeah.
it's about the size of like a travel chest. It's probably like a couple meters like this
A
and a
coffin.
meter. Ooh, yeah,
Small.
yeah. It's yeah. That's not unlikely.
Oh, okay. How long?
They got dark quick.
Yeah, it might be just enough room for a body. Might be in there.
Sure.
Do we know approximately time when the box was opened?
It happened before you arrived at the outpost. According to Gwendolyn, it was probably a matter of days.
Days. Okay, so he could have left there days ago.
Well, his hololith was there, so he had to have been in range.
Do we actually have an idea of what the range on that sucker would be?
Short.
Short.
Yeah.
So, okay.
It's he was probably leaving as you guys were going, and he's like, I'm opening the way for you. Bye.
Alright,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like a
I
2-hour head
consult
start.
the
roughly. Absolutely.
Well, can we? Yeah, we need to. Let's consult to see if.
Consulting the data slate. Okay, so you're doing that?
Yeah.
I need a tech test from you. You're also really good at this because you
Yes,
have.
I am.
Guess what? Cranial implant. You actually see her.
Oh, you are the computer.
She pulls out a little cable and just
I speak
connects her
computer.
brain actually right to the data slate.
Motoko.
What's my?
What did you say?
What do I need?
Oh, yeah.
Shell.
Yeah,
Very,
I just got that.
Yeah.
What do I need?
Okay, so the difficulty's 5.
Ugh.
Burn the rat.
Burn.
Yep.
Things.
The only reason it's a 5 is because you don't have the Adeptus Mechanicus keyword.
I have a keyword that has Adeptus in it.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Hey.
And I've got a wrench. That makes me. that makes me a tech priest, right?
Absolutely.
I'm an Adeptus Wrenchius.
Everything okay, Jennifer?
Oh, I was just trying to see if I had anything. I guess that since I have an implant, does this thing count as a peer?
Yes.
Okay, data slates are really cool, but they are not intelligent, unfortunately.
I mean, that's more an insult
Well,
to
because I have a
you.
bonus to influence and interaction skills in social situations. I don't know.
I don't
Yeah,
think the
you-
social
Just gonna try it.
This is a
I
conversation.
can
This
try.
is an
I have an
exchange.
implant. My implant speaks to it. I don't know.
This is a new game. We're learning the system.
I
Trying to
pass,
find out.
and I have a Crete.
Okay.
4, 5, 6. Yeah, so 6.
And you can push one. And you have
Yeah,
6
and I have one to push. if
All
I
right.
need to.
Well, yeah. Okay. So this is fairly binary. You may want to push it into glory, but you do
Glory.
spot that the signal that's coming off that they've identified as belonging to Kuvar is headed to what looks like a observatory. Basically, it's one of the locations on the one of the main platforms that kind of looks down. It's almost like where they do a lot of surveys and like. What's the word I'm looking for here? Like the ground defense coordination.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Alright,
sure.
gotcha.
So it's where he can figure out
Exactly.
where the best place to
Exactly.
deploy this
That's
thing
that
is.
looks like that. It looks like where he's located at, and that's probably a good 30 minutes from you if you run.
And I'm not able to determine from this data slate what the result of where he's going would be.
Would you like to?
No more.
Yeah.
Would you like to put? Would you like to know more? Because that would
Yes,
be.
I would.
Okay, so you shift for extra information,
Yeah,
and your
to
question.
see if I can determine where it will send him. Like, where is the most effective place to release this jazz?
Okay.
Yes, hands.
Chaos fingers.
So there's a central there's a central tactical cathedras. Basically, it's a location where they get the guys, they get the strategos, the guys together to basically plan out all of their fire lanes and whatnot for the Crown of Blades. That would be the most effective place because they could possibly, again, you don't really fully understand what the Box of Shadows does, but that's what you expect it would be ideal for that, would be there.
So he's going to head to the place to figure out where he needs to go with it.
Do you want to try and cut him off?
Yes, absolutely. I know more about this kind of thing than he does inherently. I think we head to the source of where he's going to take it, and we set up a trap for him before he gets there.
I like.
We'll just stop him on the way.
Trusting the Inquisition has never led us wrong before.
I mean, like in
Do
this
it.
moment, Cole has some admiration for what's going on over here. It also means that he gets to hunt down and kill his opponent that much more quickly.
Victim.
That's right.
Okay, so you guys basically going to try to intercept him. That will be, let's call that a cunning roll.
Nice.
Cunning test.
I've got a 7 in that.
Okay.
Is there any way that a master hunter trained?
Yes.
and
So
brought
here's
up on the-
what we're going to do. We're going to make this a cooperative roll.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what that means is she's going to take lead.
Mhm.
All right. So she is the only one whose wrath die really matters.
Okay.
You guys can make a skill roll to assist her, and it can be any skill as long as you come up with a reason why.
Oh, I love this.
I will set a difficulty, and if you succeed, you give her an extra die, and any shifts that you get above that difficulty also become extra dice
Ooh, I
to
like
her
this.
test.
This is fun.
The difficulty for her test that she's going to need to make to try and find a way to cut him, he's got a symbol of authority, he's been here for a couple of hours, and he's literally in the place where he can map out the best way to get to where he's going. So the difficulty's high. We're talking a 9.
And when you say he's trying to get to the place where he's going, he wants to do this on the station, or
Yeah, at the tactical cathedrals.
Okay.
You're trying to intercept him, and that's why it's so hard. It's a 9. So you guys are going to want your difficulty is going to be lower. Just to assist her, you're going to get a 5.
Okay.
But you can pick any skill you want as long as you find a way to say, I am helping her because this means whatever you decide that to be. So, Abe, what skill are you going to use?
I'm going to use Intimidation to help clear the way so that we can speed up.
You jerk! That's what I was gonna do!
I'm going to use the office of the commissar to just get everyone out of the way.
Okay, well,
Yes.
you're really good at this. You get a bonus because of your archetype ability is
I
called
do.
Fearsome Respect.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
So you're going to get a +1 based on your rank bonus to your Intimidation roll. So your Intimidation roll is pretty good already, and you are So you will get a how many dice total?
10. Total.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you look for a 5. As long as you pass, you give her a die, and then each shift over that is another die she gets.
Die.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
is a critical.
It doesn't. Your wrath die doesn't matter.
So
Yeah.
I'll shift to success, and then I'll shift one more over to you.
So she gets 2 dice from you.
2 dice from me.
Okay. Remember, Jen, your maximum at this level is 6 dice.
Oh, well, I have more than
Six
dice
six
on
bonus.
Six
Six
bonus.
bonus.
Oh, 6 bonus.
Right,
Okay,
sorry,
so
my
I've got
bad.
2.
All right. So he gave you 2, and Pater Morris, what are you doing?
I feel like insight, because
yeah.
I'm trying.
Trying to get
Trying
in
to
his head.
figure out his head. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
how's this
Good
guy
idea.
thinking? And I feel
Yup.
like it's more of an insightful to be like, I think he's going this way because while this may not be the shortest route, I think that
Ooh, very Slytherin of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah.
So yeah, make a roll on insight and look for difficulty 5.
Okay.
That's a really good idea, by the way. I like
Yeah,
that.
I feel like I'm getting into his head. I think
You're like a psychologist.
Yes. And I don't need to worry about the.
You don't need to worry about wrath. I mean, you could roll it, but it doesn't
It's
matter.
fun to roll big dice.
It's true.
I like big dice and I
I
cannot
cannot
lie.
Okay, so I got 4. I am gonna burn a wrath
You've got them for days,
Yeah.
man.
to reroll my failures.
All right, you got no glory, so
Yeah, no.
no glory.
There we go. There we
Hey,
go.
now.
So you can push 2 over to her.
Yeah. So. Okay.
So success
I
and
need
2?
5,
Yeah.
and I'm pushing. That was 2.
So you push 3. So she's now at 5 dice.
Yep.
So all you need to do is succeed, no matter what you pick, Trojan, and she'll be at the max bonus.
Okay. I'm not
You've got this.
trying to think.
You could use your weapon skill. To...
I would like to carve away through the bulkheads. No, I mean
You're a
like,
strong dude,
I
man.
mean, like
You can make a strength test if you want. Athletics.
Yeah.
You could
Athletics is really good.
You are one of the strongest Space Marines in your company, as a matter of fact.
Oh,
Suspicious.
sweet. I mean, like, if anything, as we're tracking this dude down, if anything, so he's got the personnel side of it, but if, like, it's like there is just a bulkhead that I can knock down, or, I mean,
Yeah.
it's very Conan the Destroyer, it's like,
This door is
Arnold
too
Schwarzenegger
slow.
is gonna just open the sucker up.
All right, make an athletics roll.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's absolutely. You got power armor and the whole schlemiel, so might as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 11 dice to roll now, so fun. That's 10, that's 11.
Does power armor add to your strength?
It does.
Okay, yeah.
That's why he's got.
It's already in there.
Yeah, it's
That's why
already.
it's, okay, cool. That makes a lot of sense.
It's like ragu. It's in there.
What's in there?
Man,
Spin a wrath to reroll.
Yeah.
Someone in
You
chat says
succeeded
make
The
a
GM
strength
is-
check to the party
the
quickly.
GM to me is like, bring me all the wrath.
Succeed.
Oh, then bring me
the
the
wrath.
It can't get any better.
Oh,
All
okay,
you
good.
all you need to do is pass.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool. I mean, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Yeah, you
7,
pass.
6, 7. Yeah,
So you,
we're good.
Jen, you're Lady Aloretta. You are at 6 extra die for
Yeah.
your cunning test.
So I take a moment and I really focus in and I think about my upbringing and my training in the ways of both technology and knowledge of people and how they work and the interweavings of the nobility and how people are likely to think in situations like this when they're trying to be crafty, because that's my whole objective.
Right.
So I take a minute and I really focus in on all of that. And then
Roll
I
a bucket
focus
on a
all
dice.
my energy in channeling this guy and where he's gonna go.
He went
And
that
outmaneuver
way.
him.
You went that way.
Don't ever do that again.
No,
Please.
not acceptable.
Walk up to a deckhand. Hey, where'd he go?
If you know what, if we play a Western game, I totally want you in my party though.
Yeah.
What did you say my level was?
9.
I got a 9 exactly.
Yes! Way to go.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, max
High five.
max bonus boost really helps in that.
Mm.
So yeah, you nail out the direction he's going. You guys hustle through the building. You know, you're getting in his head. She's got the plan. You're ripping at bulkheads and
I'm breaking
Get out of
things.
the way!
yeah, and he's intimidating the people to just move, make a path.
Do you see what's coming?
Yeah.
I will execute you in the name of
And I'm just walking through the halls, Mean Girl style. Move.
All right, you come
Big
scooting
fan.
into the tactical cathedras, and apparently Inquisitor Gelt has been as good as his word because it's abandoned.
Oh, cool.
Right.
There's a bunch of empty posts. I mean, you literally see a servitor just sort of walking from one location to the other to plug itself in, and there's like a cyber raven on the back of one of the chairs with its head looking around at
Like bait for
various things.
Cyber Raven, just FYI.
And when you arrive and in this room, and you can hear coming down the hallway, you can hear a set of footsteps, and walking into that room, accompanied by a hovering box,
Oh, that's not good.
is Interrogator Kuvar. It's the same guy. He's got that very noble looking face, the high collar. I mean, he looks very prim and proper. And he pauses, tilts his head, and his eyes scan across your group. And when they lock in on Lady Aloretta, he just nods knowingly, like he kind of realizes it was you that managed to get here before him.
My name is Lady Ermala Alaretta. You killed my Gwendolyn. Prepare to die.
Yes! I want that.
He holds up a bony finger, says, "Before I pass on into the great beyond," and he kind of smirks. He says, "Surely you'd like to know more about this box of sorrows," and he gestures towards it with his hand. "This is no mere artifact. This is a true and potent weapon, for it carries the greatest moments of profound tragedy that have echoed across this galaxy. It has gathered those moments within it. It hoards them. Do you understand what kind of things we might learn from studying these events of the past, to be able to understand them in such great depth?"
Inquisitor, let ignorance be a shield to your mind.
All I ask is that you take one of the jewels from within the box and see for yourself. If you do not believe me, then by all means let us proceed directly to the fisticuffs.
Is this an alien object, or is this something?
It's not made by the Eldar. You're pretty sure of
just
that.
alien in general.
Yeah, maybe. It's really, I mean, there's nothing identifiable when you look at it that says this is alien. When you look at it, it's basically a box. It's like a featureless, sort of gray cube that is, about as the same size and shape as a coffin. And there is 4 indentations along it. Now, 3 of them are occupied by these particular glowing white, blue sort of jewels, almost like a flaring fire within a...
Oh, keep going. I'm having a wonderful time.
Okay, just making sure I haven't lost you there. Yeah, but like a flaring fire within the jewel is sort of
Oh,
held there and burning brightly, like a little star.
Almost. Anyways, keep going.
So I'm of two minds about this. Part of me's just like, not destroy it, and then part of me's like, well, but I feel like this character might stop and pause about it a minute. I
Oh,
wonder
do
how
the
I feel
character
about what he
part.
has
He
to
kind of
say.
gestures, and the box sort of floats closer to you, just hovers, slowly in your direction.
I want to insight him and feel, or no.
I don't want to
I would
inside. I
like
want
to
to
use my
pick the...
campaign card.
Oh!
An airing of grievances.
What?
A weapon cannot substitute for zeal. Play during a discussion, debate, or negotiation. Make an impassioned speech to convince one individual on the opposing side of the rightness of your position. You gain 1 wrath.
Wow.
Done. Do
Okay.
it. Let's hear it.
So what is your impassioned argument?
This is a not Inquisitor Kuvar. What's his called?
Interrogator Kuvar. He's the same rank as she is.
Yes. Interrogator Kuvar, you have sinned against mankind and brought foul heretics into the mortal realm. You have sinned and you must repent, so your soul may go to the light of the Emperor, for if you do not, you will bring the taint of chaos with you to the beyond. Do you repent before you die, or will you simply go and be a dog for chaos for eternity?
Okay, that was amazing.
Yes!
Wow. Okay,
Just shed a
so the
little
interrogator lowers his head. He just stops for a second. He just. I thought I'd forgotten what righteousness sounded like. I had been offered unending life. I had been offered everything I'd ever wanted and dreamed. But the gods of chaos are fickle, and their blessings, they are not for the sane. And as he looks to you, says, I feel a moment of clarity speaking within me, priest, when you talk. Repentance, if it still lies within my grasp, is something I do desire. But perhaps it is too late for me. For one of the jewels is already gone. And you will know where to find it.
No.
If you truly seek repentance, tell us where you hid the jewel.
He says, well, that is very easy. It is within the body of Tech Priest Arail.
Dun, dun, dun! Surprise! You never take anything home with you guys. You burn it all.
Well, interrogator, I think you have earned the Emperor's mercy at least.
No, I opened fire.
No,
that's the
Emperor's mercy.
The Emperor's mercy.
A word of
stands
advice. He says, this box and the sorrows it contains, it is a precious resource. I urge you to consider before you destroy it.
No.
For we can only save one.
What?
The others, the others are already decaying as we speak. But we can save one. Would you care to experience it? Shall I open the box for you and show you what I have learned?
Vortex grenade.
Nope.
That shit.
No. No, I'm putting one between his head.
Forbidden knowledge is forbidden for a reason.
All right, so you want to execute it.
I'm going to execute.
All right, you are Commissar. This is your role.
This is what
He's already
This is what he
repented.
does.
Just tell me what happens here, because he's gone.
I'll just step up to him and place the bolt pistol next to his temple. And
He just nods like he knew this was coming.
If your repentance is true, interrogator, then the Emperor will grant you with his mercy.
I make the sound equal.
Yeah, that takes care of Kivar. He's gone. His body collapses to the ground. Your smoking bolt pistol is pretty much the only reminder of possibly a once misguided man. Who knows? But the box of sorrow still kind of hovers there, sort of threateningly. And you do look at it, and you mentioned that they were decaying, and you do look a little closer. The flames seem to die just a little bit.
Thank goodness.
Does that mean it's going to go out on its own?
Maybe.
Because what is the greater threat now?
I
The stone
hop on
inside
the
the
box.
text.
Oh yeah. We're
Hop on the box and I contact Inquisitor Guilt.
Of course.
Guilt, come in!
Static.
Guilt!
The question posed before us is: we have this one void grenade. Do we use it on the
vortex
box,
that
or
sucker.
do we
Vortex
take
grenade,
it to the?
We need to get the jewel and bring it back to the box, and then destroy them both with the vortex grenade.
Do we take the box to him, or do we take him to the box?
We should totally take the box with us because it's gonna be so funny. Oh man, I'm in love with this plan.
How do we control the box? Can we
You know what? It's if the longer you look at it, the more you can pretty much just mentally command it to move.
I got psychic mastery.
Well,
four.
I'm not commanding anything.
That's right.
Nope.
I got a little bit of
My
willpower.
mind is not like an open fortress.
Basically, it seems to sort of just respond to your silent wishes. It's this is a level of technology that's definitely not human, or at least not any human that you've ever seen before, and it's definitely a little. It's basically magic. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it.
Yes, I love me some space
what did you say?
magic.
I tell it to take us to the tech priest, and I follow it.
You know what? It starts to move.
Oh, that is
Idea
the
that-
coolest thing ever! You did that so
The
It
well.
just directly takes you
What about the
there.
data slate?
Now, I do need all of you to make a conviction roll for me.
For
Okay.
sure.
Difficulty 5, actually.
Oh, good lord. Conviction. That's gonna be tough.
We don't add anything to it, just our rating.
Oh, never
Yeah.
mind. I'm good.
He's like so worried. I'm like,
Double
Is this
sixes.
a
What was
test?
5.
Is this a test?
Oh, wait. I need
Yeah, it's a test.
You need 5?
Yeah.
I'm re-rolling some dice.
Okay.
I got 5 and crit.
Okay, out of glory.
But I don't need it.
Out of glory. It's,
No, not on my. Sorry, it's not on my.
Oh,
not on my.
not on the Wrath Die. Okay, the Wrath Dice
Sorry.
is the only one that matters
I get
for that.
excited. I get excited.
Oh, I should.
Jeez, there's a lot of rolling going on over there.
I think we're re-rolling a lot.
Did you fail?
Not me.
By 1.
Okay. let me tell you something.
Oh, yay, story time.
So you guys are moving along, and Peyton Morris just keeps finding his gaze drawn back to that box, and he hears these whispers in his mind. And every time he looks at those spheres, he thinks the flames take on a slightly different shape. The first one is starting to kind of talk to you a little bit. You start to sort of and begin to feel a weight of tragedy, and see in your mind's eye this sort of star-spanning galaxy. You see delicate spires rising on planets across the different systems and regions of known space, and even into the unknown regions. And you see these delicate, frail people raising a civilization that is just mind-bogglingly advanced. And you see their hubris rise, and in a single moment of decadence, everything crumbles into this utter well of just, I don't know how else to explain it, but anguish. I mean, you see a race snuffed out and a chaos god born. You see the fall of the Eldar.
Definitely don't tell this to Lady Aletta.
Wrong campaign.
And that
I'm not telling her
you can
squat.
even identify which one of the spheres that is. You're like, that contains like all of that sorrow in one place. The tragedy there.
Vortex grenade for this!
I don't know. Honestly,
So far, he's the only one. He's the only one who
overcome
even
with
witnesses
grief
it.
about the fall of the Elder that I void grenade us all.
You grenade the party!
so the question is,
Do I stop or am I
No, you
stopped in my
just
tracks?
no. You. I mean, it happens like a second, and then you're like back to it, and you
Tears everywhere.
well, the question is, as a good Imperial priest, do you find the fall of the Eldar sad or happy?
That's the funny part about it.
Well,
You're
no,
like,
I mean, there's
sweet.
definitely an emotional sense, or like a tone. There's
It's
definitely a feel.
It's just the amount of death and destruction, I think.
Well, it's that, and it's the loss. I mean, it's really it's the loss of something beautiful. It was, even it stirs an Imperial soul just as much as any other.
It's the loss
there
of
was,
life and the
Yeah.
pure and unadulterated.
It's like someone taking the Hope Diamond and smashing it with a filthy hammer. You're just like, oh my god, why did you put? Oh, you put it in the sewer. Oh god.
Yeah.
You're just like, you're like, wow, that was something beautiful, and now it's just
Garbage.
gone.
Yeah.
And anyway,
You
never
can
will
wash
return.
that off.
Yeah, you really can.
Anyway, so what's your reaction to that?
Nemoris pauses for a moment. I'm sorry, I don't know. He's just kind of dumbfounded right now. He's just kind of like, I saw something. The box.
Have faith, Potter. We will overcome this.
Yes.
The forces of chaos will not win this day.
Brother Trojan turns around, because Space Marines, they're not, I mean, he's not a psyker,
No,
but I've
Not a
he's met
librarian.
one,
yeah,
and he looks back at he's listening to the words coming out of
Nemoris.
Nemoris' mouth, and he's like, what did you see?
Spy is destroyed. Sadness. I need a moment. I start reciting hymns of the Emperor, and I start to...
Yeah, klaxons start going off, and the lights turn red.
We don't have a moment.
I'm still
Because
reciting, as this is going on, he just starts to recite and to find strength in his Imperial faith.
I kind of grab him by the shoulder, and we hustle.
Okay.
Does my knowledge of like the box
You just
and
mumble it.
technology and like
Nice,
scholarly arts tell me anything about the interaction between like the box and people, like what he's going through?
He must have somehow, heard what this box does. Again, it's the origin is very unclear. Dark Age technology was a weird time. There was like sentient robots and all kinds of weird
Magic
stuff.
and drugs.
It was the equivalent of like the 2001: A Space Odyssey type stuff. It was really bizarre.
No, hard quit.
Yeah, but the good news, bad news situation. The box comes to a halt, and you can see laid out in front of you. The hallway comes to an end, and you were looking at the observation deck, and standing above the bleeding body of Inquisitor Gelt is the hunched form of a rail, and his head turns up. Greetings. All these tiny limbs start to pull out, and he looks like a demented spider with these cables and claws and blades and spark-tipped arc welder type devices that are coming off his body, coming out from that red robe, and the rotting sloughing flesh that was what was left of his biologicals is just dripping onto the floor.
Yeah.
You know,
He's the Alfarius.
and you can see like a little chunk of his chest is starting to like dial open.
Yes,
and there's
please.
you can see the last stone inside there.
Oh yes.
Is he within range of the box and the grenade? Like if I throw
No.
the grenade, can I?
No,
can I
not
close-
yet.
I tell the box to go to him.
Well, okay, the combat will now begin. And to no one else's surprise, I'm spending to go first because
No.
I just want to thank you for letting us fight the creepy tentacle beast that you teased me with earlier in the game. It's like, oh, he's a good guy, whatever.
Do we get a
Good
wrap for
guy.
completing our
Welcome to the
objective?
Grim Dark.
Yes.
I know.
Did
There are no
you
good guys.
accomplish your objective?
Earlier, yeah.
Did you not get a wrath?
No, she didn't.
Then you get a wrath now. So, just
Correct.
making sure.
There you go.
For ruined.
Has
Correct.
anybody got a card they haven't played yet?
Yes.
Okay. Look at her face.
Is she ready? Is she ready to play it?
No, I don't think so. If she doesn't, it's not a crime. Like, you know, if you don't use the card, it's no big deal. 'Cause some of them just don't always apply to what's going on.
But it's
It'd
a
be a whole
crime.
lot cooler if you did.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys come in the room, and he spirals up, and, you know,
It just doesn't really apply.
greetings. Well, I'm sure it would have maybe in an earlier scene or something, but it doesn't matter. And he is going to lunge for it. He's going right for Trojan. The blades on his arms start to flicker with the fire of a power field.
Oh, I start laughing and welcome his. Oh, this is gonna hurt a lot.
And like he actually, the way he moves is kind of bizarre. Like the body kind of floats, like it's got an anti-grav parts, but the limbs almost like turn into a wheel.
Dude.
And he just kind of skitters towards you at this incredible speed.
That is so
Just
cool.
kind of shredding the ground as he comes right at you in this explosion of blades and sparks. So I am making a melee attack against you.
Okay.
What is your defense?
My defense is a 3.
Okay.
Apparently, I don't believe in defending things.
You have a lot of resilience. That's the trade-off.
Yeah.
It's not
Okay, I
hard-
didn't crit. That's the good news.
Oh, that's good.
It's not hard to hit the broadside of the barn, but the barn's real tough.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, you
That's
big.
good.
All right, I'm shifting 2 dice to damage.
Okay.
And I lost one, and I'll pick it up later.
Take that, dice.
I got extra. I'll just put that anywhere, Ross. All right, so he's going to do. Oh God. All right, so that is going to be 15 damage, AP 3.
Sorry, say that last bit one more time.
AP 3.
What
So
does that mean?
so your armor is part of your resilience.
So basically, my resilience is 11, but it's really an 8.
Yes, against a 15, so that's 7
Okay,
wounds.
so 7. Totally gonna soak.
Yeah, the power blades bite right in.
That's kind of what I figured.
And you can you actually see the ceramite of his armor getting cracked and then rending apart, almost like a bandsaw has been applied against it as the energized blades start carving, gouging out sections of the plate into the flesh underneath.
For soak?
This is a soak
Soak roll.
roll,
Got it.
not a test.
Soak roll, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Okay. 1 6, so 2, and then a bunch of 3s. Can I re-roll this with a
You
wrath?
can, yeah, of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
definitely want to do that.
Spin the raft!
Yeah, so it's currently 7 wounds incoming, and you're...
Whee! Oh, hey, that's better.
Hey, that's much better.
So that's a 5, and that's a 6.
So you convert 5 of the 7 into shock, and it costs you a shock to do it. So you convert 5 into... You convert...
I have 7 shock.
Yeah.
I think I just took 6.
Yes, you did.
I am so good at this game. Whoa! Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, but you only took 2 wounds out of the 5.
So that takes me
That's
down
it.
to 6. Okay.
Yeah, well, that could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Oh, I am fully aware of that. I'm happy with where
You
I'm
turn
at.
it into a glancing blow, but a huge chunk of your... Now, keep in mind also, by the way, that not every... Like, you guys are heroes. You're like the Black Library novel
best of the
dudes.
best,
yeah.
yeah.
So you get to soak. Most normal people in the
They just
universe,
die.
they just straight up die. Troops cannot ever soak.
Uh-huh.
Elites can, and adversaries can, but they have to spend ruin to do it. So if I'm out of ruin, I just can't soak. Like, I don't even get the option. So that being mind, but you take the hit, and you're the weird transhuman smell of Space Marine blood hits the air.
So good.
Well, it's very rich. I mean,
like
so these guys are like,
super
whoa,
oxygenated.
damn, yeah, it's very oxygenated.
Uh-huh.
And your bright red arterial spray just goes all over the ground.
And then-
And so, hey, your guys' turn now.
Yay!
As the tech priest stops, and now he's like Spider-Manning over you. He's looming with all his blades. It's like, it will be a pleasure to dissect your gene seed.
How
Oh,
close
that's
did he
rude.
move to the box?
That you would like to act. Yes.
No, how close did he move to the box?
Oh, he's on. He's right next to the box
Jen,
because he's engaged with the Space Marine.
my character needs to die. This is how I play. Get the coffin next to me and the Tech Marine and throw us all into the Vortex Grenade. Do it!
I don't know how I feel about
I mean,
that.
White Scars do have a tradition of falling into strange vortexes
Like-
and never being seen again.
So I'm
You just
the
followed his
newest
framework.
person in this campaign setting to 40K. So walk me through a little bit more about the background of a character like this. Like, where would they stand morally on the thought of throwing one of their comrades into the thing to save the universe?
The Inquisition is founded on the idea of defeating threats to the Imperium. If you consider the Box of Sorrows to be a clear and present danger to the Imperium, and
Obviously it
in the
is.
Dark Imperium, you're talking about the Gilead system, and we're talking about the Crown of Blades, which is the defensive platform of the planet in the Gilead system. Yeah, I think that
Space
your
Marine.
background would tell you that this is a viable sacrifice to make, although not a light one, because any Space Marine is a valuable. I mean, there's fewer
We're
Space
amazing.
Marines than there are.
Cars.
There's like
That's so horrible. I'm
no,
sorry.
there's only thousands of Space Marines in a galaxy of millions of worlds.
Mhm.
Think about that.
We're not that cool though.
I tell the
I mean,
box
pretty good
to
students
now.
zoom over to the tech
It
priest.
floats with this eerie silence. It just floats right up behind the two of them as the tech priest is just.
the void grenade to Gwen's staff.
Oh.
And I lawn dart that shit right
Yes, I love it.
All right, now you need to make a ballistic skill roll, and now don't screw this up.
No. You have all of the reroll power.
Now the thing about the vortex grenade is close does not count with
Does
this.
he
You
have
have
the
to get.
Imperium keyword? The tech priest?
Yeah,
I do.
technically he does. Yeah.
Cool.
Jen, just to be really clear, the vortex grenade close does not actually count. You're gonna have to place it pretty precisely to get all of the things you want in it. So
Okay.
that means you're going to have to hit the tech priest defense, which is a 6.
You can do it.
Okay, and I say very loudly, in the name of Inquisitor Aelin and the fallen Gwendolyn, I will end you.
Nice.
So
Ballistic skill?
I invoke the name of my Inquisitor to plus rank to an interaction skill test.
Yeah, you would need to want to. Do you want to use an interaction attack as well? Because you can lower his defense with that if you wanted to.
Is that how that works?
Yeah, but it would be a multi-action, so it kind of would be a wash at the end of the day.
Oh, okay. Then
If you just want to say it and make
I
it a
say
cool
it, but
thing.
that's fine.
Okay, yeah. Mechanically, it would not be good for you unless you were setting him up for someone else.
I believe.
How many? What was my test?
6.
That looks like
5.
Oh,
I roll
Those are twos.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7.
Yes.
I can't add.
Oh!
Yes.
All right, so
Yes.
tell me what happens with the vortex grenade.
So, I had attached the vortex grenade to the top of the staff.
Yep.
I take aim and I lawn dart it right at him, and it lodges into his chest right on top of the stone.
Oh!
It lodges in him.
Yes.
And he stumbles backwards by the weight of the staff into the box.
Yes.
Like he like flails onto the box, and then the grenade explodes, and it absorbs both the box and him into it,
And-
avoids him.
No, unfortunately, it does get him
I
as
tried.
well.
I tried.
But so as the vortex, so what happens? All this is going off at the same time, Brother Cull. The stone pops free of his chest. It actually lands.
Oh, that's.
You like reflexively kind of grab it to keep it within the field, and you feel the sensation of the sorrow wash over you. You sense
I feel no sorrow.
much
I'm
more.
kidding.
Well, hang on.
Yeah,
You sense a much more imperial focused
Oh no.
sense of tragedy. You get a glimpse of Holy Terra itself and a wall stretching hundreds of meters high with millions of names carved across it. And there's a serf in a ragged robe with a little chisel, tears streaming down his face as he represents billions of souls praying for one name that's added to this wall of heroes. And each hammer of his tool upon the chisel is echoed by the peal of a bell.
Which
The
bell
bell
is it?
Of lost
Lost
souls.
souls.
It rings out again and again as the vortex grenade goes off, and you are sucked into the warp, along with the screaming, raving remnants of this corrupted tech priest, and the bizarre technology that they recovered from the exoplanet. The Bell of Lost Souls guides you into nothingness.
I love it. Nicely done.
Very cool.
I'm so sorry.
And that was a
Don't
box of
be, I
sorrows,
love it.
everybody.
That's great.
You have successfully saved the system, and I think we can wrap it up here. So,
Sweet.
I think before we're going to turn it over to some questions, I think for the audience, but I do want to quickly ask any of my remaining players, just for a quick elevator pitch. Like, what do you think of the game? I'd love to get your feedback.
You want me to...
Yeah. So here's my representation of the end. First off, tech priest.
Oh, nice.
Vortex grenade.
Oh my God, that's great.
So here at Bell of Lost Souls, we are prepared for all eventualities.
Yes.
Um,
Oh man.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Go ahead. What do you?
No,
start?
I mean, I think it did a great job of representing the brutality of the 41st millennium and 40K. I really like the crit system, and I think the cards is a really good way of representing that and keeps it flowing rather than like rolling on big charts or anything.
There is a chart in the book for people who are card phobic, but I do love the chart. The
Yeah,
cards
I think
much
that's
better.
really good, and I think that this is a really good streamlined system that keeps it going really fast and brutal.
Yeah.
And I think if you've played, I think it's easy to get into. If you've played RPGs, you're not going to be totally lost on this, but it does seem to have enough depth to actually represent some of the cool things and let you build characters. I mean, we were able to have, from Commissar Priest. I mean, this is a very different party, right?
Yeah.
Normally, it's hard to represent a Space Marine on the same level as a bunch of humans or an acolyte.
Oh, that reminds me. Actually, the Commissar and Space Marine are both Tier 3 characters.
Right.
But the Priest and the Acolyte are both Tier 1 characters who've been ascended to Tier 3. That's why she has a cranial implant.
Oh,
That's
cool.
why you have a
Okay.
Mastercrafted chainsword.
Yeah.
So you felt like you were able to be on the same playing field, even though you weren't
Yeah.
necessarily that starting level as an archetype.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's really, really cool that we were able to not feel totally overshadowed by the Space Marine and stuff like that, but the Space Marine still felt really awesome when I needed to. And I can't wait till I get to actually play a full campaign and do all see how
Cool.
how you do progression and stuff like that, and all how a full campaign would work out.
Thank you, Abe.
Yeah, mechanically, the game is super easy to pick up.
Love it, yes.
My only exposure to the game before today has been the webcomic, which I got kind of an idea of how to play. But we spent, 20 minutes before the game with our character sheets, just kind of looking it over, figuring out where stuff is. I didn't know how anything worked before we actually started playing, and I've already picked up the basics of how to play this game. I mean, that's a tribute to you, Ross, for the DMing and coaching and stuff like that, but it's super intuitive, super easy to pick up. If you've played RPGs before, you're going to be able to slide right into Wrath and Glory, no problem. The setting.
Campaign cards.
Yeah, the campaign cards
They
are
might be my
awesome.
favorite thing.
That's a great
yeah,
idea.
The campaign cards are awesome. The archetypes are awesome. These are all... What else? There was another mechanic. Oh, the objectives I really liked. These were all awesome excuses to roleplay
Yes.
instead of just roleplay.
You're,
Yeah.
you're leaning into my favorite thing.
And I felt they didn't get in the way of stuff. Sometimes those mechanics in games get in the way of playing, or make you, or feel like you have to do that to do the mechanical things.
Right.
These felt very natural and really helpful.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I felt like I was able to slide right into playing a Ministorum Priest and just the stuff I was saying was in character, and then suddenly I'm like, oh, and you get a bonus for that. Sweet.
Yes.
And I didn't feel like it was forced. In some games, we played other systems together, and you know what game I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Kung Fu.
Yeah.
You know which one. And that one felt very
like you have to do it every time. So
Yeah, every
I
time.
like that you're rewarded for it, but there's lots of limits on it. Like
Yeah.
you can do this once a scene, things like that.
Right,
So
right.
It all feels very balanced.
Yeah, you're not playing with the one person that's constantly describing every single thing they're doing and trying to get the extra die.
Right.
You do it once per scene or once per fight, and then that's it. You don't have to keep creating this crazy image in your head. Sometimes you just want to say, I shoot him with my bolter. And sometimes you want to say, I drop the clip out, I pop it in, I cock it back, and
So I want to hear from Jennifer, because she hasn't.
Yeah.
She's not as super 4K like you guys are. But
Yeah.
I'm really curious what she thought about it.
So I'm by far the newest person to the 40K universe. I've been working for Bell of Lost Souls for a year, and that was my very first introduction to 40K. I'd seen that it was a thing at a con, and I knew nothing about it. So in the last year, I've started learning things. Obviously, I'm a big Eldari fan. I like the Xenos, and I've been learning like step by step with all these great guys who know a lot about it and are constantly teaching me things. But for me, being the outsider who I know nothing about the Imperium really, because I've been focusing on learning the Eldari, and that's completely different in the function of it. This was really easy to step into with no knowledge of the Imperium and how they work, other than playing them on the field of 40K. I mean, the background detail of the character and the way that everything is laid out on the character sheet, their their keywords and the objectives and things like that, they really make it easy to, from the get-go, step into the head of your character and know kind of how to lead them and how they would respond to things, which, to me, the role-playing aspect of a campaign is far more important than the mechanics.
Preach.
I love the mechanics of this system, but the first thing that I want in an RPG is, who am I? What motivates me?
Yeah.
How would I respond to these situations? I'm very character driven. So this was great for me because I was able to attach myself to this character and get into her head and know kind of how she would be expected to interact with things. And the things I didn't know, Ross was cool with being like, all right, here's more about how this would work, which really helps newer players. And that's the biggest thing to me in an RPG system or any game system is how easy is it to step in with no knowledge and learn to play it? Does it take a year and a half worth of reading every book on the planet to get it? Or can you step in and have fun with it from the beginning?
Yeah.
And this is very much that. You don't have to know anything.
Yep.
You can sit down and have a good time. And it's even better when you're playing with people who know more about it because, like, Abe and Adam are able to just get into their characters and have the words and know how to riff with it.
Mark's face every 5 minutes, he was just like, oh, that's that thing. I mean, he was like just freaking out over there.
Yeah.
And I really, really dig this system, and I'm sad we only get to play the one shot.
Yeah, are you going to leave us a book?
I would love to keep playing this. And go.
The book comes out at Gen Con, and I will see if I will try to make sure you guys get a copy for sure, because I'd love to see you play.
We'll see you there.
Yes.
Oh.
I think we have been locked in, because, I mean, Larry could just keep us in here forever. It locks on the outside.
Send food, send help, please.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark, really quick, what did you think, and then we'll go to questions.
So, kind of along the same lines of that Jen was talking about, the role-playing element is what gets me for any game. I love how you've kind of built in, how to put it, you're forcing but you're strongly encouraging improv from your characters, where it's like, okay, you can do the interactive skill checks, and you just, you tell me what you just want to do, or you tell me how you're gonna help this person out, and you figure out how to do it. And also, like, I really thought the objective for my Space Marine was the one that I rolled, to reminisce upon the traditions of your chapter.
Super cool.
It was like really cool, and it was super helpful that there was a prompt there. And I've never played White Scars. I played Black Templar, so I didn't know them very well. But it was still fun to like get on the wiki page real quick and be like, okay, this is what I need to talk about. Here we go.
Well, you did it so stealthily, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Well, hey, just watching your face the whole game was probably really entertaining for me.
So much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun.
I have a question too.
Yeah.
Obviously, here at Bowls, we have a lot of miniatures, and I do notice there are ranges and stuff for weapons.
Absolutely.
Do you guys have a conversion chart or something for like hexes or tiles?
Yeah, we're gonna have maps available actually, and the squares are gonna be 2 meters per square, and we have tokens. We call them blips. That you're gonna be able to use for your characters, and not coincidentally, those tokens are the exact same size as a base for a model.
I'm shocked.
If you wanted to use the Games Workshop models for your characters, which I'm sure would be great.
I mean,
then you could do that.
This is like a childhood dream of mine of being able to play a role-playing game with my 40K stuff.
Yes.
You have a lot of 40K stuff, and just a little bit around the
I'm
studio.
shocked.
Yeah.
Shocked.
Really? What?
The rules for Hive Tyrants.
By the way, big shout out and thanks to the Bell Lost Souls guys for having me here. It's very great hospitality, and I really appreciate the chance to show off the game. This is the first time I've played it in public in a 16-month period I've been developing it.
Wow, thank you.
So,
very much.
We're
Thank you for
incredibly
bringing
honored
it to
to
us.
have you do this with
Yeah.
us. Especially
Sure.
designing us a session that we can play for us. That just, it's so good. My feels.
Yeah.
All the feels. So we have a few more minutes. Why don't we answer some questions from the crowd and from the,
Absolutely.
is it the crowd? What do they call the stream?
Chat.
The
Chat.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So,
chat.
Evan
chat.
Blade of Revan wants to know how much XP the characters are being given for finishing this session.
All of it.
Okay, Blade of Revan, great name by the way. Love KOTOR. So there is XP in the book. The suggestion is to give between 3 and 5 per session, depending on how much was accomplished. And typically a rank is 20 XP. So you're looking at around 5 to 6 sessions between ranking up. Although we also encourage you to use a milestone system and instead go with what's narrative rather than tracking, because bookkeeping is kind of bullshit.
Thank you! Thank you!
So if you want to do it XP per session, you can. But the way we'd rather have you do is by a milestone and say, now everybody ranks up and you get 20 XP to spend.
Feels so much better.
Which would be that's the way I prefer.
Do you spend XP to upgrade stuff, or
Yeah.
do you get everything? It's not so.
No, this is not a class level system. I mean, there's elements of class, but you buy things. It's got a freeform character creation,
Okay.
so you buy your skills and your attributes and talents, and those things cost build points, and build points are exactly equivalent to XP.
Sure.
So don't worry about that. But yeah, advancement is a thing you can do, and we want you to ideally be able to advance something like, say, every other session or so. But ranks are separate. Those ranks are sort of gateways to improving the skills and things you already have, like the abilities these guys carry.
Right.
And some talents and things are gated off by requires a certain rank and stuff like that.
Jabba the Space Gangster, also a great name, wants to know if you might release Box of Souls for people to play.
Box of Sorrows. You know what?
Sorry, Box of Sorrows.
I thought it went pretty well, so
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't rule it out. It's a question of whether we can work it in the schedule somewhere. I think it would be pretty cool, actually. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Geeked Service, Geek D Service wants to know if you can tell us a little bit more about character archetypes, especially the orc ones.
There are orc ones in the book. My personal favorite is the orc Knob. He's a tier 3 character, and he gets to command all the boys.
That'll be so happy.
So, can you talk a little bit about Zealot's campaigns?
Yeah, that's the big question is can you play Alien
Specifically
Chaos
Tyranids?
Forces?
Well, yeah, there's definitely archetypes for Chaos characters and Xenos characters. The way the book sets it up, the core rulebook is going to be your foundation, and we're going to build on that later with more stuff. It's really, consider it like the tip of the iceberg, but it's something that you can build on for later things. One of the first things you do when you sit down and create a Wrath and Glory campaign is you decide what's called your framework. So your framework might be, we're all orc freebooters.
Sweet!
Doing orc freebooter stuff.
Sold.
So every player, so all the archetypes that are appropriate would be the orc archetypes. You might also say the default, for example, is that we are the desperate allies in the Gilead system,
Nice.
working for Rogue Trader Chakal Feronius, which gives you a large, that's basically all Eldar, all Scum, all Imperial. That's a pretty broad mix.
Mm-hmm.
But, so depending on your framework, yeah, you could have all Xenos, you could have mixed parties. It's kind of up to what you want, what kind of game you want to run with Wrath and Glory.
Will there be chaos?
Yeah, Chaos characters are in the book, yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
For real.
Evan Blade of Revan wants to know what kind of release schedule are you looking at? New books every month, every other month? Just
a million
general
books in
idea
one
of how-
week.
Yeah,
Don't tell 'em.
Without getting into specifics, the idea is to try and release something every month.
Oh, that's cool.
The goal, that's the ideal. Obviously, stuff could happen. I mean, but the schedule that we have currently is that we're trying to get something out every month.
Yeah.
Dark and I wants to know what's the upper limit of the expected power for characters? Lord Generals, Space Marine Captains, Primarchs, what you thinking?
Primarchs, no.
Unreal.
Primarchs are off the scale right
Yeah.
now. Certainly, but the core book we have stuff that goes up to tier 5, and tier 5 is where you're talking about Space Marine Captains and you're talking about Lord Inquisitors and stuff like that. You are definitely some serious badasses, but Primarchs, no, sorry.
I'll take a ship. If I can command a ship,
That's
I'm
fine.
good.
Okay, funnily enough, the Rogue Trader archetype comes with a ship.
Yes!
Are there vehicle combat rules and
Yes,
stuff?
there are.
Oh, it's getting
Nice.
And
better.
Starship combat rules.
Starship. Ooh, beautiful.
The Joyous Communist wants to know if you'll be able to play Dark Eldar.
Okay, that's a really hard one. to do. It's not impossible, and they're not in the core book. I can tell you that right off the bat. But we are going to do an Eldar campaign called Doom of the Eldar later on, and that will probably have some stuff in it for certainly the Inari. Which,
Yes!
so
Yes,
so
yes, yes, yes,
there will without getting too specific, there's probably a good chance you could play an Inari who happens to be a Drukhari in the Doom of the Eldar.
Just out of curiosity, why do you say that it's difficult?
So imagine that you're trying to roleplay a guy whose depraved soul requires them to torture and murder innocent people as much as possible.
Sounds like a Tuesday night.
It's not. It's just a particular tone that
I totally get
a lot of
it.
groups
That
have
makes a lot
trouble
more sense.
making it work.
Yeah,
You
okay,
know,
that
that's why like an Ari Dark Eldar is a much more likely dude to play.
Yeah.
It's a
Rogues
little
are
bit
bad
more
enough already.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
it's just easier to to kind of sympathize and understand with what they want.
The mindset is super alien and doesn't work well for team play.
Certainly not for
games
that. No,
together.
yeah.
No chaotic evil.
So we're
allowed.
saying there's probably not going to be a Tyranid focused only list where I can
Gene
just
Stealer Cole,
and nom noms with my
I
my
get
teammates.
asked about Tyranid PCs almost every time,
No,
and
no,
I
no,
still
no,
can't
no.
quite think of a way to make it a fun role playing experience.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Alright.
We've got about 4 more minutes total, and then we got a hard quit.
Yeah, we got a hard quit.
Nom nom. No, that's all. That's
Grimdark James says you mentioned keywords during the game several times. What sort of impacts will keywords have in the system?
Okay, so that's easy to do. As I mentioned a couple times during the game, that difficulties were higher because people didn't have the correct keywords, or difficulties were lower because they did. And keywords are just kind of a way for a game master to get say, you're part of this organization, therefore this task is easier or harder. But that's not just all that they do. Some abilities, like the priest's fiery invective, only applies to people with a certain keyword. And lastly, it also relates to buying gear. There is gear that you either cannot outright purchase or is very, very difficult to purchase because of the keywords that are associated with it. Like if you're trying to buy a Primaris Marines heavy bolt pistol and you're not a Primaris Marine, yeah, the odds of that are really it's really difficult. So keywords come into play for getting stuff, for doing certain tasks. They are a prompt for the game master to kind of tell you what you can and can't do sometimes. They're very useful as well as to tell like which abilities affect certain people. If you had a group with a priest and an Eldar, and the priest goes fiery invective, and the Eldar's like, I just don't care. I'm sorry, it's not inspiring to me. Yeah, because I'm not an Imperium guy.
You don't have the Imperium keyword.
Right. I
The
think
Joyous
this
Communist
has to be
wants
the
know-
last question. I think.
Yes. Do you have plans for Necrons?
Last question: plans for Necrons.
Beep boop beep boop boop. One,
Well,
one, two, one, one, one.
Anything's. I will say this: anything's possible, but we have not planned out quite that far down the line. But the 40K is a huge setting with all kinds of stuff, and there's
confirmed. You heard it here, guys.
there's no telling what we could get to in the long term. Thank you again for the chat. No Lost Souls.
Yeah.
Ross, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
the Lost
yeah.
Souls. Thank you for coming.
It was
Chat,
my pleasure.
thanks for hanging out with us this late and playing some RPGs.
Yeah.
Woo! Role playing.
Yeah.
I'll see you
So
all
much
later.
fun.
Wrath
Okay.
of Glory comes out Gen Con.
Yes!
Go check it out.
Buy it.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe. Support us on Patreon. Thanks for watching.